We're live, yay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our very first DMs After Dark session here. My name is Troy. I will be the game leader slash facilitator for this short series coming up, featuring Shadows of Esteren. Shadows of Esteren is a Celtic, kind of gothic influenced. It's a low fantasy RPG. The creators drew some of their inspiration from Braveheart as far as some of the scenery and the romantic elements. They also drew from Bram Stoker's Dracula, The Shining, for some of the horrific elements as well. So if any of those things interest you, or if you like any of those things, then I feel like you will enjoy what's to come next. Do we want to do quick introductions for everybody else then, or?
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah, why don't we
I guess I'll go first since I just opened my mouth.
Yeah.
Christian, I am out of the group. Role-playing. Dragons, the red box set. Old. Looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good time. Looking forward to it.
I'll go next. Yeah, sure. My name is Rainey. I am also one of the DMs here at DMs After Dark. I am an avid RPG collector, and Troy told me about this game, Shadows of Esteren, a while ago. So I think I backed a Kickstarter thing for it, but this is the first time I get to play it. I'm super excited about it. I love breaking down RPG design and just incorporating really great design mechanics into all of my games, and that's why we started this, so you guys can see all the really cool stuff. But let's see what Shadows of Esteren has in store.
Sarah, you're up.
All right. Hello, I'm Sarah. I got into RPGs at the young age of 13 when my grandfather showed me the original first edition Dungeons and Dragons box set, which I now proudly own, and it is my baby. And I've been a big old nerd ever since. I tend to run games that are combat light, roleplay heavy, because that's just kind of the way I am. But I am never opposed to throwing down a good fight.
Hi, everyone. I am Jessica. I'll go next. I have played Esteren now for probably, 2 years almost. I play in a game with Troy, so I'm a little bit familiar with the game. I saw an amazing tweet today about how they're a dungeon apprentice, which I consider myself. I'm kind of here just always learning how to be a better DM, and I'm ready to try new games. Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Amber. I've been into RPGs for about 18 years, since I was in middle school. And I am also a writer and storyteller. So RPGs as a vehicle to tell stories and examine characters are one of my favorite elements to these style of games. I've also been in an Esteren game with Jess and Troy for about 2 years now. So I'm semi-familiar with the system. Still haven't figured out how to not constantly be getting wrecked and dying. We'll see if this session goes any better for us.
I was going to say, I don't think that there is a way.
It's an art that you have to work actively to perfect for Esteren, for sure.
Dying is the best part.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll let you know, other than my name, I've been playing role-playing games for probably just as long as Amber, since I was in elementary school, actually. But started with Dungeons & Dragons 3.5. Really didn't have too much experience with any other role-playing games until recently. About 2 years ago, the first role-playing game I played other than Dungeons & Dragons was Shadow of Esteren. We were introduced to it at Gen Con in Indianapolis 2019. Shout out to Studio Agate and Nell, one of the creators. Got to meet him, super cool guy, great team. You can tell that they are super passionate and committed to this, honestly, this masterpiece that they've created. So I am excited to get to introduce all of you to it. Other than that, I think we're going to do a little disclaimer here. So due to the kind of spontaneous improvisational nature of RPGs, anything can happen. With that said, as I mentioned, Shadows of Esteren is a pretty dark, gritty, horror-based role-playing game. So there will be some adult elements, including, intense horror. There will be some psychological features to the game as well. One of the things that Shadows of Esteren does really well is all of the characters during character creation pick a psychological disorder. And as you're exposed to, jarring, difficult things, you get to see how your character progresses down that track of insanity. And it provides a really unique role-playing opportunity for the players as well. Other than that, like murder, death, all those things will probably be present. And of course, dick jokes as well. And bad puns. So,
Yes, yeah, those are inevitable.
Always, tons of those things. All right. So do we want to say anything more about our group before we kind of get into session 0 for this particular game?
I think before we get into the character creation bits, like all of the, the nitty gritty, step-by-step making a character, Troy, can you tell us anything about the scenario we're going to be playing? So in case any of us are on the fence about what kind of character we want to play?
Yeah, for sure. So we were kind of torn between two different scenarios. Since everybody is incredibly indecisive, I'm going to make you pick one right now. So the two, do we have any people that are currently viewing? If we do, we can maybe have them put some input. But audience engagement, right? So the two scenarios that we kind of were torn between. The first takes place. I actually got the kind of the roots or the inspiration from book 1, which is Shadows of Esteren Universe. Which, by the way, is a quick aside. One of my favorite things about Shadows of Esteren in general is the artwork. It's like ridiculous. It's next level. The art, the quality of just like the printed materials and everything like that. It's also a very immersive role-playing game. So what I mean when I say that is they have books. They just came out with their very first graphic novel. They have a novelette. They have professionally composed CDs and soundtracks, which is ridiculous. They have one of the soundtracks.
Orchestra did these. It's amazing.
Like the Budapest Symphonic Orchestra, I think. They composed one of the albums or worked, collectively to compose one of the albums. There's 4 right now, and they're all amazing. I think they're on Bandcamp. So if anyone is interested and wants to look at some of that, that's a great way to immerse your players in the experience. They also have a board game, which is kind of similar to trying to think of what it's sort of similar to. You ever played like One Night Werewolf?
Yeah.
It's like a whodunit kind of game. So it's a little similar to that. They also have an art book that they just came out with, which is pretty impressive. And they have a click video game. That's what I
was going to mention.
Click video game? What is a click video game?
They also have a culinary book, which I have right here.
Yes.
And it's totally worth mentioning.
Oh man, you should send us a recipe. I would be down to make that one of these times.
Oh,
yeah, so
you know what? We'll post
next
one of the
session, we're just going to
recipes
eat in front of you all, just delicious food.
We should post one of the recipes just to, really immerse our audience.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Hey, while we're out here struggling in the world of Esteren, enjoy this delicious meal.
Dying of starvation and exposure to the elements.
Our characters are barely making it through spring, but you can enjoy this delightful.
We're gonna put that one on the back burner, so to speak.
Good pun.
They have a cookbook and everything. It's really cool. So. There we go. Beginning with the puns already. So let me find the very first piece of inspiration for one of our possible scenarios.
because we're awful at deciding.
Yeah, we
and-
didn't help Troy very well.
I just rolled a
very
dice
much-
to like help me.
But it's because it's like the
We're not
Minnesota
very
Nice role playing
Giants-y.
group. Everybody's like, well, I don't care. What do you think?
Well, because they're both so cool too.
They are cool.
Like
They are
I
cool.
love the idea of survival in the winter. As
Well,
I
you
get
know,
ahead
if
of
nobody
myself,
can
but-
decide it and nobody who's viewing wants to say,
Dice.
you know,
Yep.
that's the ultimate
leave it up to
way of settling
chance.
things.
Yeah, that works too.
So one of the other things that I like about Esteren is they did a ton of work as far as their campaign setting. They have one official campaign book right now that's published. It's book 3. It's called Deerg. And in that book, they have a tremendous depth to the pre-generated characters and the world in general. Like the world building is incredible. They have NPCs that have entire like narrative arcs and everything like that. So they really took their time and invested in the pre-generated characters, which is wonderful, especially if you're brand new and you just kind of want to dive right in. Book 0 is available for free PDF on DriveThruRPG. So if you are interested in giving it a test run, that is technically all you need. It gives you 6 pre-generated characters you can choose from and 3 short campaign scenarios that you can play through as well. So check that out. But we are looking at the first potential campaign idea. There is a explorer who has hired you to investigate the following. There was an emblem and various gear from soldiers that were in a contingent that disappeared almost 600 years ago during the Ice Era. He found these items and is hoping to go back with the crew and find the crown of a long dead king. I kind of pulled this information from a short story that it talks about during the Ice Era, which happened like almost 600 years ago. A contingent of 200
Sounds a little
knights.
bit like the Lost Roman Legion sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it seemed kind of like that. The other option that we have is there is... You've been hired by a group of Magiantists who they are investigating a group of researchers that went missing in an area called Carmine Chasm. It is renowned all over Tricazel because it's a place of particular interest to Magiantists. There are these very strange, like red flowers that are almost like blood colored. And kind of a little spin that I put on it is they are the only like flower or vegetation that they know of that you can extract organic flux from, so what you would extract from living tissue. So I think that's an interesting thing, but they're hiring you to go and see if you can find the crew that went missing. So those are the two scenarios that we are running through, and that was inspired based off of the excerpts they have in the book on Carmine Chasm. So
I vote for the second because I think that if we're going to be playing these short series of these games, investigating something like Magiantists and like such a setting specific, kind of role mechanic, thing like that, it just seems really seems like a really good opportunity to showcase what this world's all about.
okay.
I
am down with that.
I'm intrigued by missing people. So something horrible. Have that horrible
Says
thing
the
happen to us
Cthulhu
too.
lover. Yes.
Yeah,
It
says
sounds
the
like such a
Cthulhu guy.
Cthulhu thing.
Nothing good happens in the valley that you can get blood out of flowers from.
Right.
Yes. Even
I
Mother
concur. I feel like I'm a little biased because I'm playing a Magiantist for this, but I am down.
All right, there we have it.
There we have it. So we're going to go with scenario 2. Scenario 2 will take place in the springtime, which for those of you that don't know, Tricazel, every season is pretty much
floods, cold, rain.
Yeah, like tons of rain, just like getting caught in flooding, like boggy, marshy like areas, just
Trench foot.
Oh, so my job. Great. I'm going to be hoofing it through some wetlands.
Yeah, Esteren is everything can kill you. The food can kill you. The weather can kill you. The person walking down the street can kill you. Everything.
It's like
It's like,
Oregon
oh,
Trail.
it's summer. The weather's
Yeah.
nice. Not going to die of exposure. Joke's on you. bears.
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 So true.
All right. Well, I guess.
Awesome. So
Yeah. Let's
Scenario
move on to
2 it
character
is.
creation.
All right.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. Woo.
So, if you are lucky enough to have book 1 universe, character creation for Esteren it's a little bit of a mixed bag. There are certain things that I really, really love about it. There are other things that can be a little bit confusing. But I think part of that lends itself to the general layout of Esteren. Esteren is written from a very like storytelling oriented view. So if you're familiar with role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons, where it's like, hey, I'm curious
Crunchy.
what flanking is. Let me look up in the, index. Oh, it's on this page. Perfect. You go there, you look up flanking. Esteren is not so much organized that way. It is a little bit more difficult to reference specific rules because a lot of the books are written from the perspective of people in the actual world of Esteren. So you might have somebody who, went to, Carmine Chasm, and they had this horrific supernatural experience and barely escaped with their life. And they went back to a tavern and they're recollecting their experiences to a group of people in this tavern. And it's like, that's what you have in the book. You have this crazy dude's story. So it's really cool from that perspective, but it can be a little bit intensive from like a referencing rules perspective. My advice is just the more invested you get in it, the more you read the books and delve into it, the easier it gets. So, but book 1, character creation starts on page 200, and it is broken down into 10 steps. Now, some of these steps literally take like 5 seconds. Other ones take a little bit more time. I would say, in my experience, the one that takes the most time is the last step, which is equipment and description. We're probably going to not do that during this stream, and we'll upload the character sheets once it's done so that you guys can see what everybody purchased for gear. So the first part is going to be ethnicity, and we will go through this together. There are essentially 4 different main ethnic groups in the world of Tricazel. There are the people of... Yes.
Oh, we should mention that unlike a lot of other games, there are only humans. You can only play a human in Shadows of Esteren.
Yeah, no elves, no dwarves, nothing like that. So, there are certainly other things out there.
Yes.
Nothing that you can start by playing. And I say start by playing because who knows what happens in Esteren.
Oh, that's right? Terrifying. I didn't realize that you could.
Man.
Oh, goodness.
I started human.
So there are the people of Tricazel, which they're kind of like, they're descendants from centuries of mixing between all cultures. So it's your standard, whatever the majority is.
A little bit of everything.
It's like, yeah. So, yeah, that's Tricazelians. There are the Osag people who are, think of them almost as like the, they're like the Norse, like Viking. They're kind of like natives in Tricazel. So they're the people that were there before like formalized government and stuff came along. They're a pretty clan nomadic type people. And again, think of like big burly, like really pale, like Viking people. That's kind of the Osag people. There are the Tarish people, which are people of unknown origin. There's kind of this mystery and kind of skepticism that surrounds the Tarish people. No one knows where they came from. They're also referred to as people of the West. And they are kind of, I would say they have similarities to like the Romani people.
Are they like gypsies?
Yeah, kind of. They're more, they're kind of nomadic. They travel in like caravans. They're very family oriented. Yeah. They don't have a lot of written literature or like history. A lot of what they do is like word of mouth. So that's kind of the Tarish people in a nutshell.
They also experience some prejudice from a lot of the other groups as well, much like the Roma people as well.
Yeah, when I was reading it, I got a very gypsy vibe from the Tarish folk.
Romani vibe, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Is that what they said? Sorry.
Yeah, that's a slur now. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, we said murder and death, so like an accidental like slur. We'll let it slide.
One of the great things about these games, though, is you learn.
Good to know.
And then the last group that they have are the people of the continent. These are often like slimmer and more slender than the natives from Tricazel. They have more delicate and sharp facial features. Think about like almost like
European.
like European, like I would say they're like Europeans, kind of in that regard. And there's a little let me see. Yeah, that's kind of the best description I can give you there. They're also
but Europeans who probably came over on airships a long time ago.
Yeah, so that's another cool thing they said. So they hail from or they most likely hail from the continent, which is to the north and the east of the land of Tricazel. And it is basically separated by like an impassable mountain range, like just the most massive, formidable mountains you can imagine. Like no one goes there, and if they do, nobody returns, right? There's like a one-off story in the book of somebody who went there looking for like, riches, and they heard rumors of these beautiful civilizations and this and that, and they came back like 20, 30 years later and nobody recognized them, and they said that they spent the past 2 decades of their life wandering in a wasteland. So like it gives you a lot of room as a leader, as a game leader, to kind of run with and make your own thing. So that is the first step. So ethnicity, everybody can go ahead and choose from one of those 4 things. There is no in-game mechanical advantages or disadvantages of choosing any of these. So they don't attribute to your stats or points or anything like that.
It's your backstory, your flavor. Yeah.
We are also going to, at the end of this, we're going to post our characters. And for those of you if anyone is watching right now, there are character sheets that are available on DriveThruRPG. If you would like to go there, you can look at those for free, just so you can kind of follow along with character creation if you're interested. They are also in the back of book 1. And I will do my best to kind of just show you what they look like. So, at the top, you have like your name, your ethnicity, age, all that good stuff. It goes down to your health condition here. You have more or less your stats, which they call ways in Esteren. Advantages and disadvantages, which are really fun. We'll get into those. You have your domains and disciplines, which are similar to like skills, I would say, in some other games. Second page is going to be more of like your weapons, equipment, some of the more mechanical things in game, like your treasure, your armor value, protection.
Oh, it's a little hard to hear you, Troy.
Yeah, Troy, you're a little
You're like hiding behind the book.
Yeah, I'm hiding
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, your audio.
Second page is going to be more of like mechanical things in game. So like your weapons, your gear, your speed, defense ratings.
For like
armor.
however long you have things.
Yeah, for how exactly? Because guess what? Nothing is certain. And then the last page is kind of your history, your birthplace, your personality, which is a big part of character creation, and your sanity chart, which is very interesting, and then kind of highlights and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the 3 pages.
So Sarah, I have to ask you, because we discussed making tandem characters.
Yes.
What are you going with for your
I'm pretty open. Honestly, I'm thinking maybe we do just go Tricazel.
Okay.
And just they're from here.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool by me. Yeah, nice and safe.
Radical.
What do you think of that, Christian?
I'm going Tarish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tarish all the way.
Nice, love it. I'm also going to be Tricazelian.
Okay.
Continental to round us out.
Yeah. Solid.
Well-rounded party.
The natives are underrepresented. Awesome.
I see. I
OSAG
almost
people.
made an OSAG. I was gonna make an OSAG to more
I mean,
10.
if you guys are twins, you literally can't be
Exactly.
different races. So
I
it's
can-
fine.
Or
I-
they could, and it'd be weird.
I'm not committed. Do you want to play OSAG twins?
Nah, we'll go. We'll stick with the regular. Tricazel.
Okay, so
All right.
everyone has decided on their ethnicity. The next
Boom.
step
Step 2.
Step 2 is going to be profession, birthplace, and social class. Now, these things do have a mechanical in-game effect on your character, okay? So we'll start off by choosing the profession. Now, there are a list of a variety of different professions in this. Think of these as your classes. So if you're familiar with other games like Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, that kind of stuff, your profession is your classes. Having said that, Shadows of Esteren is very, very open, and there's not like hard, fast lines. So unlike some other role-playing games where like if you're a wizard, you have like spells and stuff like that, with very limited exceptions, you can pretty much customize your character to be and do whatever you want, regardless of your profession. It just kind of creates like a backstory and jives well with whatever plan or plot you have for your character. The other in-game thing that your profession does for you is it gives you a primary domain and a secondary domain. Your domains are, as we mentioned before, kind of like skills. Those are going to be on the first page of your character sheet. And you will get 5 points, which is the maximum number of points you can have in a domain for your primary domain, and you will get 3 points in your secondary domain. So I will give you guys a moment to look those over. Just kind of list off a few different ones we have. There's a fighter, explorer, a bard, craftsman. There is a peasant, physician, rogue, spy, vargle, magiantist. There's a whole bunch of different ones.
So maybe define those.
Fun fact, all of you, real quick. If you don't have a certain number of points in erudition, you cannot read. So if reading is a part of your character, be aware.
And also as a side note, like the illiteracy rate in Tricazel is really high. So it's not weird if you don't know how to read. Most common people don't know how to read. But are we common people? Maybe.
So Troy,
in one of our first games of Shadows of Esteren, we played a group and like no one in our entire party could read. And Troy forgot at one point, and he had a character hand us a note, and we were like jokes
you need to
on
find
him.
someone.
He can't read. We were like, somebody help.
That was the
funniest
adventure.
NPC.
Real world problem from the Middle Ages.
We did
Yeah,
find a
that-
translator. His name was G Money.
Aw,
He was the best.
Seems
So,
very
Troy, when
on
you pick
brand
a
for
class-
Esteren.
Funny.
So, when you pick a profession,
G
Troy,
Money.
you
His name was
automatically-
Gerald, but we called him G Money.
Go ahead, Christian.
The primary one you automatically get 5 in.
Yes.
Correct.
And then the
Secondary
secondary
one you get
one, in mine I can choose. I'm going fighter. Parish. So
Yep.
I can choose shooting and throwing or feet. I choose one of those two, and I
Correct. Yep, absolutely.
thank you,
I'm
sir.
choosing rogue because my character is going to be the scoundrel. That's for sure.
Excellent.
While we are looking over these,
Yeah.
Troy, could
Feats
you
is
define?
athletics, by the way. So it's grappling, running, jumping, feats of strength, endurance, anything like that.
Troy, could you define some of the weirder ones for chat? Magiantist keeps coming up, and no one knows what that means.
Yeah,
Demorphin.
Varigal,
Hey.
Vargle, yeah.
So
Demorphin.
I'm gonna say a quick backstory here. So Tricazel, the continent of Tricazel is broken up into 3 different sections. So the southern portion of Tricazel is Talcair, which if you think of Talcair, it's more of a traditional, like druidic kind of tribal land for the most part. There's obviously still big cities and villages, and there are every different faction exists in every different place, but that's kind of just a general, that's like the more traditional area. There is Guidre, which is the northwest, which is going to be pretty much the hub of the Temple of the One God, which think kind of like, honestly, like the Crusades. So these people follow a prophet named Sostrain, and members of the temple are capable of, some of them are capable of literally performing miracles, which is an example of magic that they do have in Tricazel or in Shadows of Esteren. But it's anything that any other entity has, the temple also has. So they have their own group of blade knights, which are the strong arm of the temple. They have vectors, which are kind of like the people that travel and spread the word. They have monks and clerics. They have Sagirs, which are kind of like the investigators, like the Illuminati of the temple, which is really cool. And then the last place that they have is Rage, and Rage is the northeast of Tricazel, and that is kind of the hub of the Magiantists. And think of Magiantists as very steampunky, like technology-oriented. They primarily work with Flux, which is very similar to like fossil fuels. It's It is a substance that is extracted from different materials. So plants, there's four different types of flux. So plants are one type. There is organic flux, which comes from like living tissue. There is flux that comes from like the actual earth, like dirt, rocks, that kind of stuff. Mineral flux. And then there is fossil flux, which is a very rare and very pure, it doesn't need any refinement or anything. And that is the fourth kind of flux, and it's called fossil flux. But they use this flux to power industrial equipment and machines. They have everything from elevators to airships. Like back in the day, they had airships. They have lightning gauntlets and all kinds of really cool shit. So
different tonics and injections that can do incredible things.
So it's basically like magic science.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's magic
That's
science.
probably what they were going with. A combination of magic.
When you were
Magic
describing
science.
that, it actually reminded me a bit of our Blades in the Dark, kind of that feel where it's like a blend. Like you don't know, like this isn't like strictly science as we
Where the
know
magic
it. It's
ends
like,
and the science begins.
yeah, it's really all right. Cool.
So I would say, so that's just a general description of the layout. The four classes that I would say are very specific to Shadows of Esteren, that, you know, like every game has fighters, every game has rogues, right? But your Magiantists, which we discussed, your temple members, so members of the temple, you have Demorathan, which are basically druids. They harness energy called Rindath, or they harness energy and they use Rindath to channel that energy through Ogham stones, which are rune stones. So they have rune stones that do very specific things that they can pull energy from this universe around them and do stuff with. So anything from like, you can, summon water, you can call a hurricane, like you can do crazy shit like that. So those are Demorathan. And they are also kind of viewed as very powerful spiritual leaders of towns. So they're kind of spread throughout all of Tricazel, more so in the Talcare. And then the last one I would say that's kind of a primary genre is Occultists. They don't have their own like place per se, but they dabble in like the dark arts, right? It's occultism. So they go into like someone that would investigate like haunted places, or ghost hunters, or people that investigate like possessions and
Ghost
those kind of,
facers?
yeah,
Ghost facers.
ghost hunters.
No, that was a supernatural joke. For anybody.
Supernatural joke.
Oh, fair enough. I don't get the reference. So yeah, that's probably the fourth like primary category. But the cool thing is, based on the way character creation is done, you can invest points in literally anything. So if you are a Terrish mercenary, swordsman, if it makes sense and you dabbled in a little bit of occultism, you can put points in that, and you will know about it versus someone who doesn't have any points in it. So, did everybody pick a profession? And if so, what do we have? Christian, you start us off because you kind of already know what
I had a pretty good idea since I knew. I'm going Terrish swordsman. Gonna be a fighter.
Okay.
Like I just said, I'm gonna be a Tricazelian rogue, a street rat.
I am going to be playing again Tricazelian Hunter.
Ooh,
All right.
twins.
Twinsies.
So I had no idea what I was doing, but
She just decided.
yeah, but I woke up this morning and I was strongly feeling, I think, a Vargal. Is that how I say it? A Vargal?
Yeah.
I really like the idea of just like an adventurous girl character who's just kind of traveling the world, kind of exploring and like kind of
Seeing new
bringing
things,
messages
meeting new
and
people.
yeah, trading stories.
Sometimes
and
killing
news.
them.
Variable
is to like think of like Strider, like Aragorn. from
They're a
Lord of the
ranger.
Rings.
Yeah.
They're rangers. They're literally rangers. So they're kind of
Yeah.
well versed in everything and like travel the continent of Tricazel that like nobody
Travel
else
is a super important skill in this game. You will die within 3 days in the wilderness without it. Like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no way you will make it.
Literally a
my
No
character
travel
will
savvy.
100% die.
Yeah, and I would say kind of opposite to Sarah's character. I feel like my character is not going to be very much of a fighter at all. You know,
Strictly a
she's
traveler.
also very wildernessy,
Yeah.
but like mine's just like jumping around, climbing trees and stuff.
Cool. I
Cool.
like it. Yeah. Solid.
I am continental giantist. Hey.
Hey. Solid.
Hey.
Hey.
I read
me
books and
too.
stuff.
It also does have a little like footnote in here for other occupations. So if you ever get to play Shadows of Esteren with a group of people and there is something that is not on the list that one of your characters wants to play, you can do that. Again, RPGs are all about creativity and improvisation. So if somebody's like, I want to be a court jester, cool. Come up with a primary and a secondary domain and you've got it. Like, not a problem. So the next step is going to be Birthplace. Oh, so really quick, for the 5 of you, your primary and secondary domains listed on your character sheet. For your primary domain, fill in all 5 little bubbles. For your secondary, fill in 3 out of 5.
Yes, thank you for repeating because I don't know.
Yes. The next step is Birthplace. It is important to determine for each PC whether he or she has grown up in a rural place or a city. Obviously, because that's going to dictate kind of your aptitude. This is interesting too. Regardless of their birthplace, a military service of 1 year is mandatory in Tricazel. Each inhabitant, man or woman, has the duty to contribute to the defense of the community and is given basic training in fighting. Because of this, every PC has a +1 bonus level in close combat. So there is a little caveat to that, however. If your PC was exempted from such service or you avoided it for one reason or another, if such a reason is justified because of your history, backstory, origin, or whatever you want to do for your character, you can instead put that bonus point in a different skill. So if, Amber as a Magi, or, let's just say Jess, if your character as a Varigol, if you fled military service, like literally AWOL, and just started traveling the wilderness, that would be maybe an example of why you don't have close combat training, at least as much.
Okay.
Or your character Amber the Magiantist, if you, were
Very
feeble
sickly as a child and young adult.
Sickly as a child, yeah, they're like, he can't even pick up a sword. That would make sense why they wouldn't put you in the military, and instead you have an aptitude for books, so you have an extra point in erudition. You read good and stuff.
Ooh, I'm tempted. I'm tempted to do something like that.
Yeah. So anybody,
I just look so pathetic next to my twin that they were like, why even bother with this kid?
I had a dumber idea for the two of them. She did her year of service and then did a year disguised as him. So he could
Which
get
is
out
such
of
a
it.
thing I would do too. I'd be like, "Hey sis, I need a favor."
And she's ready to be
She's like, I
buff.
won't make it. I'll die.
I love it. Total twin switch.
I'm just like,
It's great.
come on, this skin in the military,
This is a summer sausage, and you're gonna need it, and we'll get to that in a minute. You'll need it for approximately 1 year.
I mean, I think I'm going to end up taking some close combat because I am a rogue, but I do love the idea that I'm a draft dodger. What a jerk.
The other thing that I have discovered, for those of us who like to min-max and metagame, which, by the way, aside, I hate that shit, but whatever. To each their own.
We'll talk about that on another
That will be a modified roles episode. Yeah.
Definitely going to be an episode later. Technically, if you already have 5 points in a domain, which is the maximum amount, when you get a 6th point in it, you choose a discipline, which is a even more specialized subcategory in that domain. So we're going to use close combat as an example. Christian.
Yeah, because that puts me at 6.
Fighter.
Yeah.
Yes. So you want to have 6 points. So what you're going to do is you're going to have, if you fight somebody with a stick or with a sword or with literally the flat end of your shield, anything like that, you will use +5 for your close combat.
Okay.
Now, if you acquire a 6th point in close combat, you have a discipline. Now, you're a swordsman, so I would imagine that would be swords, like long swords or short swords or whatever. If you fight specifically with one of those tools, you will add a +6 instead of a +5. So you are particularly skilled in that area. At the beginning of character creation, you can only have a maximum of 2 disciplines. So you cannot have more than 6 points in any skill, and you cannot have more than 2 skills with 6 points. So that is a way to get a free discipline for those that like to min-max, specifically in close combat, or I guess any of your other primary domains, right? Amber, you're a Magiantist, so if you picked Magiantist as your primary and you said, hey, I was super Magiantist, you could have a discipline in Magiantist.
Super giant.
So Sarah,
I'm gonna mid-max and craft.
I make the worst characters on purpose. I'm aiming for embarrassment. But Sarah, do you think that we grew up in a rural or urban environment? Should we leave this to Christian?
I was gonna say, should we ask Christian this?
Yeah.
Wait. Why is Christian deciding?
Because I
Right
got
back.
stuck raising him. That's how somehow
Oh.
my mercenary. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I was gonna go rural for me, but that would be where I spent my. So I as swordsman, parachute was on. But then I came. Someone on the road, kind of traveling around. Then he was out, the woods. Lived on a wagon train, right?
Yeah, that makes
Mama
sense.
used to dance for the money they throw. So he was out. He was traveling around.
Like, share.
And so he was rural. But for you guys, now here's the thing: if we're going to say that somewhere away, either. What do you think? Doesn't matter to me. I mean, if he was like a wandering mercenary, kind of wandered around in camp, that would be rural probably. You were part of the band.
Troy,
Which would make sense. It would be a perfect environment to grow both your characters. Become a hunter or a rogue.
Yeah, that makes plenty of sense to me. I would say you guys are able to pick whichever of those two you want, because you can say you spent pretty much an equal amount of time in both as your childhood, right? You probably went to larger areas and cities to get contracts as a mercenary, but you also traveled all the time to get to your different locations in your contracts. So the reason why that's important is because a PC who spent most of their childhood in a rural environment adds a +1 to their level in natural environment. A PC who spent most of their childhood in an urban environment adds +1 in relation. So that has a mechanical in-game effect.
My character was like, ew, the woods again? Ew.
That's so funny. I'm doing the exact opposite. I like to think that my character grew up in the city most of her life. When she was super young, it was I can't take this. I gotta get out of here. I'm never going back. I hate cities. Wilderness.
Woods. Bees.
Bears.
Hey,
Bears.
Bees.
You can keep those bears to yourself, actually, though.
The next step is choosing your social class. So you can be either a commoner, a member of the clergy, or a member of nobility. Those are the 3 social classes you can fall within. Each one of those will give you a +1 level in 2 different things. So let's say you are I don't think anybody is a member of the clergy, correct? We can cross that one off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nope.
Is anybody interested in being nobility?
Yes, but I'm definitely not there yet.
So I think that leaves everybody as being commoners. So commoners is the most obviously broad spectrum thing.
I see Jess thinking though.
Yeah, I'm thinking about
Runaway
thanks,
princess.
Brady. Yeah, I'm thinking about if
Jess is
I was nobility and
Trust fund baby
rejected that old life.
LARPing in the wood.
Yeah,
I think of it
that's kinda cool.
So I think of the Vargals in a sense as the Night's Watch, right? It doesn't matter what station you had or who you were. Once you join the Vargals, you're a Vargal. None of that shit.
I think I might do it.
Do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then Jess, we'll start with you. So as a member of nobility, you obtain a +1 bonus in one of the 2 domains: close combat, erudition, relation, or science. So you pick 2 out of those 4 and you add +1 to each of those. As commoners, the PC obtains a +1 level in one of 2 domains. Oh, so it breaks up
There's
commoners.
3 levels in commoners. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 3 different subsections. So
What
the first
tier?
is Demorathan, which no one is a Demorathan. The second is craftsmen and workers, which arguably everybody could fall into, I would say.
So that's peasants and rural people as well as Demorathans is the first tier.
Okay, gotcha. Craftsmen and workers, I would imagine, are kind of like your blue collar folk, which, mercenary could be a craft. Rogue, honestly, you could be like a swindler, right? Some guy that swindles people at bars and shit. Magiantists would be crafters, so that could potentially be that. Obviously, warrior or hunters. Hunters, that's a blue collar job if I've ever heard one. Deadliest catch in Tricazel. Let's go. So if you choose that, you get a +1 in one of the following 2 domains: craft, erudition, relation, or science.
1 and 2 of the domains.
Yes, correct. You pick 2 out of those and you get plus 1.
Okay.
Yep. And then if you choose to be from the middle class, you obtain plus 1 in 2 domains chosen from craft, erudition, performance, and relation.
Bummer. All right, cool.
So if I wanted to, I go with I would like to just grow up in a wagon train.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then
that makes total sense.
And feats, can you explain what feats are again?
Yes, so feats is going to encompass any sort of like athletic physical fitness type of check. So if you are going to be sprinting or running up a hill or climbing a mountain or swimming or
Wrestling,
anything,
jumping,
Gotcha.
wrestling,
grappling.
that's a feats check.
I'm definitely grabbing.
Yeah, that's a super important skill, honestly.
I did
all
feats
the
and
time.
travel actually is what I took. So yeah.
No matter how high your feats is, you can always roll a 1 and fail to walk down an incline.
Yeah, so one of the characters Amber is playing in one of our 2 campaigns,
Worst.
Locke, has like excellent feats. He's a great swordsman. He's a knight, and he's like always like, oh yeah, like I'm fucking top notch. like I can run, jump, swim, whatever. And then every time without fail that he needs to make a feats roll, he always biffs it. So like, down the side of the
So does he really have excellent feats?
Yeah, exactly. No, everyone's convinced that he has 2 left feet. It's great.
Yep.
Step 3 is going to be the ways. The ways are your stats. Okay. There are 5 different ways. There is the way of combativeness, the way of creativity, the way of empathy, the way of reason, and the way of conviction. One of the things that I love about Shadows of Esteren is having a high or a low number in a particular way is not necessarily good or bad. It is bad in the sense that any sort of corresponding domains that are related to that way, like if you have a low creativity, you are going to naturally be a worse performer. So it is bad in that aspect. But when it comes to your kind of your strengths and weaknesses or your flaws and your advantages, having a low combativeness could be a good thing. It could mean you're very cool-headed and calm, right? Having a high combativeness could be a good thing. It could mean that you're very observant and alert and responsive to danger.
Take initiative.
Take initiative, right? You're bold, you're courageous, right? So I love how they do that with the skills.
Could mean you have a short temper.
Yeah, it could also
and you're quick to anger, which is a bad thing.
Yes. So, and we'll get into that at a later step of character creation. But that is something that I do really love about the way Shadows of Esteren runs it, is that it's not so much that having a good skill is good or bad, or I'm sorry, having a high way is good or bad. It just is something, and it contributes to the way you play your character. So ways are very easy. You assign 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. You pick 1 for each of those numbers. So very easy. You can choose however you want. There are variants where you can choose any combination of 15 total. So like some of the NPCs that they list in the books have like 2 4s, 2 2s, and a 3, right? So they don't have a 5 or a 1 in anything. For my particular campaign, we're just gonna go easy, 1 through 5. So
that's also more fun because that means you have 2 major ways and 2 minor ways, and they both give you. Yeah.
I think I have mine.
Adventurers are not well-balanced people.
Most people aren't, honestly.
I want to pitch this to you, Troy, and tell me if you think I'm on the right track with how I assigned these. Is that okay?
Yeah, right track. Make a travel check. I'm just kidding.
No.
Right
My
track?
character will
1,
suck at
you're dead,
that.
actually. In fact, you're dead. You died in the mud.
No, but here's my thought process for my rogue. I made him very creative. He's resourceful. That's what he's got to be, right?
Makes sense.
Secondly, I picked reason because I need to be able to read people. I need to be able to read a room. I need to be able to
logically oriented. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like I pick my mark and I make my move on it. For that reason,
check the guards. Yeah. What are they doing? Yeah.
For that reason, I made my empathy 2. I don't care what people think. I can kind of get a gauge for it, but for the most part, I'm not sticking around long enough to care. Conviction. Conviction is my 1. I'm a rogue. I'm a rogue. Like, why do I'm not?
Services go to the highest bidder. Yeah.
Yeah. And that puts combativeness right in the middle. It's like my fight or flight is like I look to my sister. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Rainey,
Does that seem right?
I'm really
Yeah,
glad that without discussing this with each other, we both put conviction at 1.
Wow.
So you know what's
Go.
so you know what's
They're
great
just
about
like
that?
constantly traveling because they're like,
Thanks,
fuck this shit,
Dad.
I'm out with
So
everything.
Here's what's good about that. So I was just going to run my numbers past you guys.
Morally
and
flexible.
to get
Conviction 1.
kind of back into my own character's background. He had a some tragedy. Family is tapped. He had at some point swore revenge, but he's going to be an older character. He's Sarah's characters, so that's kind of fallen by the wayside because he's got put up on other things. But I have conviction as a 5.
Oh wow.
He's our moral
So
So
Principled
it's like
person.
he's sort of about the honor, but he's kind of he's dealing with not, and I'm going to take some disadvantage predictions from that. That's how he's coping with the fact that he hasn't kind of done what he's yet. But I have 5 for that, 4 for combativeness, 3 for empathy, 2 for reason, 1 for almost the exact
Solid.
opposite of you guys.
Very
Yeah.
straight laced.
Great.
Yep, just he drinks and he kills things. That's what
And he raises orphans.
apparently. Yeah.
Does he beat the creativity out of his children?
You know what? I think
Nope.
that it actually makes
Clearly
more sense
not.
that if he raised us, it's kind of funny to think about it. Like he said, apparently I did. Maybe we just latched onto him because we were just like, you're our way out of this hellhole.
That's it.
And,
That's it.
and
No,
he
you
put
know
up
what?
with
That's
us.
perfect. You guys could have just been like some camp orphan that just kind of
Yeah.
like latched onto him, and he
Tag along.
Yeah, despite he's got a 3 empathy, but that you reminded him of like his. And I was like, fine, but begrudgingly, quote.
Yeah, it's we
He's
just
like secretly a cinnamon roll on the outward. He's like this hard drinking, sword fighting, scarred badass, but like also like can't turn away a stray kitten.
Yep,
Okay,
That
Ace
works.
did.
I like it.
it's just these 2 idiot 8-year-olds started following him everywhere, and he went, "Oh, they're mine now, aren't they?" And they
Like,
went,
they're
"Yup."
gonna die if I don't help them.
Yeah, but
He
also,
liked the sword, so he was like, all right, he took a liking to you, and then he's like, hey, you're good at stealing shit.
yeah,
That's
I
good.
just kept coming back
He's
with
like,
stuff. I just kept coming back and being like, you look like you needed this. And he's like, you little shit. Hell yeah, let's get out of here.
They don't know not to eat poison ivy.
Jess, what are you looking at?
I don't know. I'm kind of struggling with how I want to arrange this. I think I want my character to be like pretty lazy. Like she's like a noble, but like she left and she left that life behind and she wants to be out in the wilderness, but she just wants to like sleep in trees and stuff.
Are you a stoner?
Yeah, that's hysterical to me because the life of nobility is the epitome of laziness, and then like living in the wild by yourself.
Right.
not.
so whatever you're thinking
Especially in the
about
wilds of
philosophy,
Esteren.
get one.
Wait, which one won?
I said, whatever you're thinking of making your reason, make it one. Like
You think so? I considered that. I play one reason characters very well.
Make choices that are not smart.
what about you? What about you, Amber? What are you thinking?
So I'm very excited to play a character that has a lot of internal conflict with everything. So I put reason 5 and empathy 4. So my idea is to create a character whose head is constantly at war with his heart.
Like that.
And just feels things very strongly, cares very deeply about people, but also his logical mind knows that sometimes the correct answer, the hard answer, is like an immoral one, but it's the most efficient one. And that has been a battle all of his life, especially in his Magians and scientific training, is that conflict between the demands of progress, logical progress, and his soft heart.
Amber,
Like that.
the fact that you want to run Mistborn for this show and you haven't read that trilogy, you like do it because you just described Ellen Venture in a nutshell.
I would say.
Oh, boy.
I also thought of a lot of similarities to one of the pre-generated characters in this. He is a giantess, and his name is Finn, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Finn.
Yeah, I think it's Finn.
And he is one of the core main 4 characters in the campaign Dierg, in their published campaign. And the narrative arc that they chose for him was that of ethics. And it's very similar to what you described, where his experiences in the Magiant's university were very jarring to him. And without getting too into it, he had to choose between, morality and efficiency. So it was kind of similar to what you said, and it kind of shook him. So
great
I
theme.
like that. Yeah, ethics is a great character arc, a great like
For
main
sure.
trope. So yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody.
My creativity is a 3. My conviction is a 2. Because living like that, just he doubts everything. He thinks and doubts everything. And combativeness is a 1. Not want to fight. He is not good at fighting. Thinks we can talk this out. This is clearly a miscommunication.
That's where I come in.
Wow, Chris.
No.
Oh no, Sarah's a good fighter too, right? Okay. I was like, is Christian our only good fighter?
It's
No,
gonna be
it's
two against
Sarah.
two. So,
Okay,
and you know,
Sarah's
you
got
know
that.
I roll like crap, so I'm probably not going to actually. I'm going to be a good fighter on.
Yeah. That's
Not
the way it
actually
is.
in
You build a
practice.
fighter, you are gonna biff everything physical ever. You're
My
like,
com-
oh, a hill, a gentle hill. Oh, just down on your mouth the whole way eating gravel. Like
my combativeness is my top stat. That's my
Perfect.
5.
Heck yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
The other things that I would like to point out about Shadows of Esteren is it's a low fantasy, gritty, and realistic world. So when I say that, it doesn't have a lot of similarities to like a Dungeons and Dragons where you are a wizard flying around throwing fireballs at shit. Like that's just not the way shit works.
Yeah.
What they do instead is they take ordinary people and they put them through a series of extraordinary experiences that change them. So your character will more or less always have the same hit points. It will always be basically equally easy to kill your character. Your character will never be beyond getting the common cold and dying. Like,
Right.
no matter how extraordinary of deeds you've accomplished or anything like that, like it's deadly. It's a deadly world, and no one is prone to that. You can't have a level 20 character that can jump off the side of a mountain and not take enough falling damage to die. Like you will die, right? So I really love that about Esteren because it encourages you to make smart decisions. I think to Jess's character in one of our campaigns that she's playing, Tierney, she tried to breathe fire on a bear that was attacking them, and she straight up inhaled a bunch of fire and literally has been on the verge of death ever since then. Like for the past 10 sessions, she's just been in a constant state of almost death. Do better, I guess. I don't know, right? Like risk it for the biscuit, but also
Yeah.
just know that
it
there's
was
bad-
pretty desperate. It would have been
See-
cool if it worked, but that one.
That's one thing that I'm really excited about, that like as we play more games in the DMs After Dark series that we're doing, like that's such a great design mechanic for Esteren. Like they don't want you to ever feel safe, so you're never going to have more hit points, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we'll play other games where like, I'll say this, I've run some Starfinder, and like there's a running joke, like you can't kill a Starfinder character. Like it's so hard to do it because that's the game they want to run, though. They want to show you being like these insane space cowboys, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
So yeah, like I really like that. Like I'm excited to see, because normally I'm a forever DM. So like when I get to play, I play so stupid, and Troy, do not feel bad. Literally
Oh.
just wasting me.
Not at all. That's
Christian, you have your job cut out for you keeping this kid alive.
Yeah, permission given.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, he's useful, right? He brings
Ways-
me stuff. Keep him around.
the ways are done or almost done. So we will go ahead and move to the next step.
Yep.
And the next step is going to be age, setbacks, and history. So age is a really cool thing in Shadows of Esteren because everybody dies very young. For example, 31 to 35 years is the maximum age that it actually recommends in Esteren. And the reason it does that, it actually says something in here about it. Where is it? Yeah. He cannot be over 35 years old, since a more advanced age would be rather implausible regarding the experience he is given at creation. So like if you lived 35 years and you have your starting experience points the same as everybody else, it's just not like realistic. Now, having said that, Christian, you said you were thinking about 38. That's
Yeah.
fine. Like we
Yeah, I mean, we'll just use the 35 one.
Close enough.
we'll use the 35 category, but
You don't want to take another setback, dude?
I'll take 4. I don't care.
Also, if you have 4 of these setbacks, you are wrecked. They're pretty
so
bad. A lot of them are pretty
the
bad.
other thing. Setbacks are amazing. Okay, so the way that age works is the way that they represent the experience of age is that like the longer you've lived, the more shitty stuff you've encountered, which gives you more experience to spend at the start of your character creation, but it also gives you setbacks, like disadvantages.
That cuts
So-
uncomfortably close to real life.
Yes, it does. So if you are going to be between 16 and 20, the reason why they say 16 is because that is when you traditionally complete your final age circle of education. Which the education system in this, by the way that like traditional kids are raised is so badass. Like they have these people called domathers, which are basically like den mothers that just raise all the fucking kids in a village. And they're broken up into 3 age circles. So like the first one is like play with sticks and like blocks and like learn
Don't eat
socializing
these berries.
skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second stage is like we're gonna learn more about like the wilderness and the world that we live in and like dangers and stuff like that. Like don't do this, do this. And then like maybe an introductory to like combat, right? And then like the third one is like, okay, you're going to learn how to like literally fight and kill people and also a craft or something like that. So really, really cool.
Yeah, Damatair, that whole
They're super badasses
social
too. They will
status
throw
is
down.
so cool. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, I think probably my very favorite picture in the art book is a picture of a Damathair or Damatair. By the way, the pronunciation in this is
Bonkers.
very difficult because it's all
We don't know if
Celtic.
we're right about anything.
There's a pronunciation guide.
Probably
and
wrong
it's,
about
and it's,
everything.
and it's
Guide.
ridiculous. Like I jokingly was just like, I should type some into chat and be like, how would you say this? And everybody would be like, nah, that ain't even close to right.
Nah, there's
we're
freezies
not-
in there. That's nice.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Also wrong.
They're all we'll do our best, but we'll do what is just easiest to say.
I think like
Sorry.
EOGHN is one of the main characters or something like that. And I was like, I don't know how to pronounce that. It's Owen. It's pronounced Owen.
It's
yeah.
Owen?
It's
Yeah,
Owen.
no. So in this, it says here EOGHAN, that one.
Yeah.
It says Aogan.
Aogan.
Aogon. Aogon.
I would have read that as Ian for some reason.
Yeah, like it's crazy. I've gone through this. Even the continent, like I saw it and I was like, oh, Tricazel, cool. Nope, it's Tricazel. Tricazel.
I see Tricazel.
And it's like,
see, I'm
sure,
sorry. Well,
Yeah.
sure. Like,
This
sorry.
is how we're gonna do it.
you know.
We're just rolling with it.
Yeah,
Customize your
it's
world
totally fine.
and your
But it's
pronunciation.
yeah, it's tough.
improvise, adapt, and overcome.
I literally have a note of how my character's name is spelled versus how it is pronounced.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to
On the
hear your
sheet.
name. We'll get there later because I picked the name already too. So
Oh hell yeah! No talking to each other about it.
no,
Just diving in.
no cute twin stuff. It's just
Nah.
So, Troy, I have a question.
Yes.
Since I'm old, both in real life and in the character that I'm, and I have to have setbacks, can I pick something that could tie really nicely into my background?
So here's the thing. Yes, it could, but I like the idea of everybody rolling for them.
Okay, that's
And
fair.
and then you have to make it work in your backstory.
Okay.
Because it could be better or worse for you.
True.
And like, guess what? If you weren't planning on being poor with nothing, well, now figure it out. Like you are recently poor and have nothing, right? So
Most of the setbacks too can be tied into the same event. You said you were thinking of you lost your
Oh,
family,
yeah.
so like violence could be that. Tragic love could be
Yeah,
that.
well, actually, I was violence was one of the
adversary
ones I was
wound.
thinking of, actually, like just because of his
I
profession.
will let you take violence as a definite yes. That's
All right, so-
100% violence. Yeah,
I'll
you
grab
can take
violence as
violence
And then roll for the others.
and then
Yeah,
roll
that's
for the
fine.
other two.
Cool.
I just want to solidify the phrase "I will let you take violence."
Let you take violence.
Violence is permissible for you to have, yes. So 16 to 20, you don't have any setbacks and you have no additional bonus domain points or anything
But
like
you're about to get one. Game started.
that. 21 to 25, you have a +1 in a single domain and you take one setback. 26 to 30, you have +1 in 2 different domains and you have 2 setbacks. And then 31 and up, you have +3 in 3 different domains and 3 setbacks. So, obviously, Rainey and Sarah, your characters have to be the same age if you're twins. Amber and Jess, how old are you thinking your characters are? How long have you been living in the laps of luxury in the wilderness, Jess?
You know, I like to think that she left kind of young, maybe like 15, but I think she's like 21 now, like 14,
Okay.
13. She's like 21 now.
Okay. All right. So you have one setback. Okay.
22, one setback. I'm still an inceptor in the Magians Guild, so I'm looking to make my big break and get my final promotion.
We're gonna, for character creation at least, and probably for when we actually play the game, Esteren is a fairly low rules intensive game. It definitely puts an emphasis more on the storytelling and the characters. So, you know, the role, whenever as a leader, if I ask somebody to make a role, it should have a purpose, right? Either a positive or a negative outcome should progress the plot in a certain direction. If someone's like, I want to climb a tree, like, okay, well, then you climb the tree, right? But if there's like a bear chasing you, then you make a check, right? Because then it matters if you succeed or fail. It progresses the plot.
I'm very concerned with how often we're bringing up bears. Is this a thing I should be well prepared for?
You
that's a
don't
running joke.
understand
Don't worry
the
about it.
danger
Everything-
of bears.
As one of the Esteren completely brand new people here, I am very concerned about bears.
Yeah, I'm
Very
not building a
iconic
bear fighting
encounter with
character.
a bear in one of our sessions.
My
But
character
it's
is not
become
a
major
bear fighter.
concern everywhere.
If you have the bare necessities, you should be fine.
Oh God.
Oh
bad joke.
gosh! Oh, it gets worse.
All right.
I
So,
can't sing. We'll get copyrighted.
do we want us to roll all of our setbacks?
Everyone roll your setbacks now.
Very
If you have
wrong.
setbacks.
I got
the-
some good ones. That makes
The
sense.
twins silently conferred and are going with 21.
Do we have the same dice, Rainey?
Oh snap!
Yes, we do.
Yo.
Oh no!
What'd you get?
Bad luck! I have to roll
Me
twice.
too.
Wow, meant to be.
Christian, please tell me you got bad luck too.
I did not. I got
No, you just got
violence,
stuck with
violence, which you let me choose, wound, which makes perfect sense, and alone.
Wounded. Yeah.
Oh,
Cursed twins. Oh
wow!
my
It's
goodness.
like your dice knew your story, and then
It
they
did.
just
Like
played it out.
they were like, my die was like, you know what? I like what you came up with. We're rolling.
I'm with you, bro.
Right. I've got
What
my
did
other
you get?
Yeah, I'm gonna grab a second peek.
Wait, who are you asking, Troy?
Yes.
Oh, me. I got wound.
Yeah. Wound.
Ah.
Okay.
I also got wound.
It's not the character.
Bunch of fucking broken ass people over here.
All right, here goes.
Hey guys, let's
Okay.
venture into this living plant area where people went missing.
Wow,
Everyone
living
holler.
in the wounds. Yeah, living in the
Living.
woods with a wound is going to be really hard.
Oh, I love it.
So,
Mine makes so much sense.
Troy, I have a question.
Yes.
So I originally rolled bad luck, and on one of my other two rolls, I rolled lucky. So do I just ignore it and just take the other one that I rolled?
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes because it specifically says ignore subsequent rolls of 1. It doesn't say ignore a subsequent roll of 10. So you're unlucky, but like not really. Like
So I just have my one setback that happened in the
correct.
middle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, it's the one that I can run with.
There's gonna
mine
be
makes
so many
sense.
opportunities for me to be cruel and unforgiving. So like I'll let you have this one.
Where do we
Thanks.
write these down, Troy?
So there should be a spot on your character. I think it's on the second page where you write setbacks.
Oh, it's actually there's a spot on the third page where it has you
That's
have.
where it's history.
Oh, there it is. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, up top, yep.
Oh, birthplace,
so-
setbacks.
Just for the viewers that don't have the books in front of them, setbacks do a variety of different things in game for you. So, for example, wound, which literally everybody has apparently, or most.
Yo.
Right? The character has a debilitating injury. At the player's choice, it can be a gash across a part of their body, a limb, their torso, their head, a lesion that gives them a limp, etc. The stamina rating of this PC has a 1 point penalty. Define the events that caused this wound. So, yeah, maybe you had, had like your friggin', I don't know, your Achilles tendon severed, and because of that, you've never walked quite the same. Like it never healed right. So,
Can we go down the list actually? Who got wound? I think everybody but the twins, right?
Yep.
So can we just go down and brainstorm those real quick?
yeah. So the
I
first one
know
is bad
exactly
luck,
what
which literally is just roll again.
Yeah, so me and Sarah got that.
Yep. It's like roll an additional time. So.
Well, I just mean like whoever got those results. So like Ned.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. So
figure out what
we got bad luck. Wound. The third one is adversary.
Yeah, I got that one.
Makes sense.
Okay.
That makes
Which
sense
makes
for the rogue.
a
That makes
lot of
sense. For
sense.
the rogue. You
Yeah,
have
yeah,
pissed someone
nice.
off.
So I believe the only other one is Sarah has one and I have one as well. But if you want to run through them all, you can.
Yeah. So adversary is you've done something that has made somebody your enemy.
And there's somebody with the ability to make your life difficult.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth one is rumor. So a mysterious rumor, maybe a truthful one, hangs around the character. Crime, sacrilege, treason. This must be determined by the player and with the leader's agreement. Did anybody get rumor? No. Okay. Tragic love. The character lived a love story that ended very badly. This painful memory that the character may hide from themselves causes them a permanent trauma point that must be added to their sanity chart. You got a tragic love, Sarah.
That's the one I got.
Oh no!
Did I ruin it?
Oh,
I don't
no.
know. How bad do you want a relationship to be?
Maybe you don't know that.
I was just gonna say, do you
Maybe
know?
you don't know.
He's like,
That
this
would-
guy
that's
doesn't know
really
that
good.
if he likes books, you're not sticking with this
Maybe
book
how it
nerd.
went bad was actually your fault, and that's like one of your deepest fears that your sister will find out your culpability in it.
Ooh, that could be good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tension.
We're getting
You know
deep,
what?
y'all.
And I could actually use my other setback and tie it into this maybe. Because my
Okay.
other setback is violence. So maybe that person.
You got them killed.
The
next one that we have is illness, which is similar to wound, except it is
Oh my
a more
God.
like prolonged thing. So like you had like yellow fever as a child, or you have asthma, or something like that. The next one is violence, which also a couple of people have in this group. The character endured harsh moments that caused them one permanent trauma point that must be added on the sanity chart. Define the nature of these events. It can be a horrific encounter with Fiondis. It can be the participation in a military campaign, a childhood spent in familial abuse, etc. The next one is alone. Everyone the character cared about, parents and or friends, died in violent or strange circumstances, which, Christian, you have that. Poor,
Ouch.
after they were robbed and had their assets seized or were the victim of an accident, the character was reduced to poverty. No other event or advantage may change this financial situation.
Yeah.
The PC only owns a weapon or a tool of poor quality, as well as a few personal belongings.
The clothes on your back. And
Yeah,
then you're in
Locke,
the wilderness
Amber's character
fighting
in one of our
bears.
campaigns had that. That was great. They broke her out of prison, and she
That's
had
because he was a noble, so I was like, shit.
And then the last one is lucky, which if you roll a 10, you have no disadvantages.
So do we want to define these all like right now?
Yeah, figure out what our stings are, you mean?
Yeah.
For background purpose. I kind of a pretty
Let
good.
me get to the last part of the fourth section, which is history. It's time to sum up the past of the PC by focusing on their childhood, the main facts of their life, and their ambitions, which is what we're all going to do kind of right now. So there are no mechanical advantages or disadvantages to this, but this is where we hash out kind of who everybody is, how everybody knows each other, that kind of stuff. I'm going to let you guys take it from here. I'm going to take a pee break, so I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Should we start with the twins because we have already a built-in
Yeah,
relationship?
this half is so
Yeah.
connected.
Yeah.
This half.
Wait, it's literally the one
Half the
side of the
screen.
screen.
Oh, that's
is
true. I didn't even
me,
notice that.
Christian Rainey.
Oh, I was
It's a family.
interested for the rural versus city part. Who's rural and who's city? Here. Is anyone city?
I believe this whole side of the screen is rural.
So
I'm
I
city.
picked city though
Okay.
because of my preference as we were on the road.
Yeah.
And traveling. But yeah, I mean, I was a little bit of both.
Okay.
So maybe that's how my character knows. Amber, you're a giantist.
Yeah, my character grew up not rural and not like a big city. He grew up in like an established town. So like
Yeah.
the big city still has wonders for him, but like he by no means is like was surviving making fire by rubbing sticks together and stuff. Like that was not a part of his life. So I picked city. It's more on the city side. He lived in a community with like gates and stuff. But it was not like a huge city that he's from. A town.
Okay.
I picture up in wagon train. So this is Tarish people, and I'm basically just stealing Inigo Montoya's like background from Princess Bride, and that like some of the Tarish are expert smiths. Some of them are painters. His dad was a smith. He was hired to create a sword by a guy who was a duke. On delivery, his family was like wiped out except for him. I would say the thing that bothered him the most. So he was like swore vengeance and became a very good swordsman because of that, and how to make a living. And then over time, being involved in such that kind of became cynical and jaded about that, and that's a bit of the violence setback that he had. I'll say that he also caught a really bad wound, like a really bad scar on his head. Knocked him a little. Big sword cut to the head that he lived.
Almost like a if you've seen any pictures of Darth Vader without the helmet, one of those bad boys.
One of those real bad boys, like right across there. Yep. And somehow picked up these two asshole kids who he just, because he's alone and the rest of it, he kind of partially from guilt, partially trying to kind of construct, he lost them on.
So I kind of want to wait because it says like don't go into crazy detail, but I want to run my ideas by Troy as far as my adversary and my violence.
I think Troy wanted more. So like, how is it that we all know each other now?
All of
right?
us,
Like, how is it that we came together and we're now a group that's
It makes so much sense.
We're doing a Magiant's mission, so I could be like, if you
you're
were
an expert.
hired by the Magiant's Guild, I am being sent with you, like from the guild.
Would it be? I mean, Amber, would your character be friends? Like, if this is maybe a town that we go through for you to get jobs often, Christian?
Yeah, that's fine.
You know what I mean? It could be like, and that's why we pick up a job like this. Like we're familiar with the Magiant's Guild.
And then
so like, go ahead, Christian.
I was going to say Jess's. I'm just going to throw this out there. Jess's character, and could be the guide, right?
I was exactly going to say that. Yeah, maybe I'm just like the tour guide, and
we're the
like,
muscle. Minus.
All right, where is that you need to go? Okay.
So Amber is the connection, Jess is the direction, and the three of us are assholes who need money.
And we're the muscle. Yeah, exactly.
Protection.
Love it.
Yeah, Christian and I are the muscle.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the muscle. I'm just there. Listen, I come in handy sometimes. Other times I just give handies.
Oh gosh.
I
feel like I'm the only one who catches Rainey's jokes.
Guys, is that the first dick joke of DMs After Dark?
I think so. I think the first live one.
Summer sausage joke about
summer sausage.
Yeah,
pretending to be your brother.
Not a dick joke.
Of course, Troy beat
That
me.
was
Of course he
because
did.
the summer sausage isn't dick. He's supposed to keep it in her pants.
Oh, I just
thought
it was,
my character pretending to be Rainey's. Yeah.
So,
Jess will miss
spicy
90% of the dick jokes. Feel free to explain them in the comments for her.
Twitch chat, we're gonna need some dick jokes.
Please
something tells me
break down every one of our
embarrassment.
Within terms of service.
So, really quick, can people comment that are on here right now?
Yeah.
Like other than obviously us?
Yeah, there's a chat.
I
Chat
am
going.
hanging out with
Sarah's got
Twitch chat right now, and Twitch chat is being delightful. And I love them.
I
So,
want some Twitch
there you go.
chat.
So,
Why can't I see Twitch chat, Sarah?
Are you on Twitch, bro?
Well, you need
You
a
want two
second.
monitors, man.
You need a second
You gotta get
monitor
your set up.
and go to twitch.tv/DMs After Dark.
Yeah, just be careful with double audio.
Yeah.
All right, sounds like a lot of work. It's fine.
Figure it out for the next one.
So, okay.
Just gonna assume they love me. It's fine.
Should we
Conviction
finish
one.
up?
That's a lot of work. We can't do it.
Should we finish up our setbacks narratively? I don't know if like it's important to establish ahead of time, or Troy, do you want to finish up like the group dynamic?
Yeah, we can finish up the group dynamic. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it seems like Amber's guild is going to hire us, and we're going to be guided to the site by Jess. So at the moment, we're not incredibly close, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than, the cat in the hat and thing 1 and thing 2 over here.
Or we can, Jess could have guided us most of the way. We can maybe come up with a little funny backstory or some shit as to like something fun that happened in recent days past as Jess was guiding us.
Fair.
It seems like Jess would be somebody. I think it'd be funny if like, as a traveling group of 3, like it could be really funny that like we just ran into Jess sleeping in a tree. You know what I mean? And we're like, "You're alone? Like, wait, what are you doing?"
And you're alive?
She's like, "You're lost." And they're like, "No, we're not." And she's like, "You passed by this tree 5 times."
You
Exactly
also
where she
said
is.
to take
Die
my
if you stay on
coins.
this
I
route.
have no coins. Randy's like, God, she's good.
Why are we wasting time with this poor person? And then they're like, "We're poor," and I'm like, "Shut up! We don't act it."
Shut up. I love it. Yeah, go ahead, guys. Go ahead and continue explaining your backstories there.
Yeah.
Jess, what setback did you end up with? Was it wound?
I have wound, yeah, and I think that everyone has such a tragic backstory that I feel like I just want to kill all of my like nobility family, and that's how she like ended up without a
Yikes.
home. Like everyone's got a tragic backstory. I don't know, but
Killing your own
Tragic
family is
ending.
not a tragic backstory.
no. That's not that she killed them. Like me as the player or my character.
I mean,
feel like
you could subvert it, and you could say that like you're the like. Maybe your family are monsters, and you were like, "I got to get out of this before I'm." You know what I mean?
That's
Like
still a tragic backstory.
Yeah, but I'm saying like at least this way she doesn't have to feel bad about her family being killed. It's all the people her family killed.
Maybe her family's like very normal and they're fine, and she like hurt herself falling out of a tree, and it's like just really embarrassing.
Right
So
after signing with the Vargals, you stepped in a bear trap, and they're like,
Yeah, actually,
In front of all your Vargal friends.
yeah, so that's what I was actually thinking. I was thinking that her wound might be when she like first went off into the wilderness, and maybe that's where she got some of her first skills. Is something happened, she got super injured and had to survive out there for a few days. Yeah,
The first skill that she learned was how to gnaw her own leg off to escape a bear trap.
these are very extreme.
Esterin's an
Speaking of struck
extreme
by
guy.
lightning. I think my character's wound, it comes from like a massive electric shock he received at the Magiant's Temple, learning and dicking around with things. Something went wrong. And he got really, really electrocuted, and he has like a lot of lingering kind of neurological damage that shows up a bit under stress and interferes with coordination and things like that.
Ooh, I like that a lot. Yeah, that's very, very easy for us to integrate with your backstory.
Yeah.
I was thinking, so mine are a little more difficult to involve, and I don't want to pick something that isn't going to be a potential, knife for you, Troy, to like stab me with in the middle of the thing.
Oh, no, it's fine.
One of mine is adversary. I wrote down, my first thought was, I'm probably not allowed in Gwydir or whatever it's called. How do you say that country? Gwydir.
Dry.
Waiter?
We hope.
Gwydir.
Question mark.
I mean, at this point, I think Randy might be closer than all of us.
Who knows? Like wrong.
But I wrote down.
That's how it's pronounced.
I wrote down
Minnesota.
wanted there, probably because I stole from the temple. I don't know if that would come up in this scenario. Like if that's pointless, I can switch it.
I mean, so I was originally gonna kind of like tabletop rule that you couldn't take adversary or enemy as a
setback here.
Not setback, but setback is different. That works, but like you can pick different things that your character has that give you additional experience later on in character creation, and we'll get to that. And one of them is enemy. And that is a fantastic one to choose for a campaign that's going to be longer, where there is development of character arcs and that kind of stuff. But it doesn't really make too much sense for this setting. Yeah. So enemy, if you want to make it something Magians related, that would be fantastic. Just because that'll be a little easier for me to incorporate.
I mean, do you want me to just say that I've stolen from like a Magiant school?
You stole a whole canister of fossil flux and then you broke it trying to escape. Like,
no,
not only did you steal it, you like didn't even get away with it.
that seems right up my alley too, because like my ambition is to get rich, and that would be the dumb shit I try. And then I tried to fence it, and everyone was like, "Are you fucking crazy? You can't take this. Like, are you nuts? Like, they're gonna know exactly. I can't have this. You know what I mean?" And so I was just like, oh fuck, and I ran away and I just broke it, and then I just kept running. And so to this day, I think like the Magiants Guild is like, this fucking kid, like, you see,
I'm gonna recognize him. It was my Magiant's location that this happened in. I'm gonna recognize this guy. I'm gonna be like,
I know you from.
But now I'm working for you, and it's gonna work out. Like, you know what I mean? I'm helping you guys now. I'm atoning.
He's gonna remember, but he's not gonna remember why. And I'm gonna be picking through it the whole like campaign, and then finally like, oh my fucking god, you did that. He's gonna be like, no, I didn't.
Me? Absolutely
like, yes,
not.
you did.
No, my performance is good enough. You'll never know. And then my other one is violence. And I was gonna debatably tie that into Sarah's tragic love, but you can obviously do your tragic love separately. That's totally fine. But I mean, obviously, it's easy to write violence for me. I probably got caught at some point stealing something and have been beaten to a pulp. Yeah, like.
Did you dishonor your family, Christian? Did he dishonor his family?
When I beat him for that? No, because I think that I'm leaning towards
his ass for getting his ass kicked. You're like, oh yeah, my kid doesn't get his ass kicked.
I think constantly. I think he's the disappointment. Yeah,
100.
Like Sarah's character's the one I'm like, good. You know, when she goes and kills him, I'm just like,
what the fuck is this?
Look, I'm creative. I come up with other solutions. It's like the
why
results
don't you
are
just
there.
do things the way I tell you.
The results are there. The methods are questionable.
I can tragic love very easily. As I had said this before stream, but I will say it again for the sake of chat. My whole concept beyond this character is pure of heart, dumb of ass. She's a very sweet girl. Her empathy is 4. Like, it's her second biggest skill, but she's got no brain cells up there. And my concept was she fell in love with I cannot remember what it's called, the Demorphin apprentice.
I have little children. Sorry.
That's good. She fell in love with a Demorphin apprentice, and the apprentice, like, they actually had a really good relationship. But like something happened where the apprentice was practicing like magic, and she ended up like dying in some sort of really bad thing with I cannot remember what they're called, the Fiondas, because like the magic. And so she like wants vengeance from the Fiondas because they killed the woman she loved, but like doesn't know how to get that and can't. Exactly.
Are terrifying. Are
I don't know if that works in this world, but like,
you make that work.
But like,
Troy's like, there wasn't a Fiona in this venture, but now there is. Thanks, Sarah. While it's eating our faces.
So Shadows of Esteren makes it very easy for you to incorporate horror. There are all kinds of horrific and suspenseful elements in Shadows of Esteren. There are, not only is like literally Mother Nature out to kill you, like the weather is incredibly dangerous. Animals, like you get bit by a rock asp and then you die. Like there's just so many things, right? But in addition to that, there's the supernatural elements as well. It's low fantasy, not no fantasy. So think of Fiones are kind of like the things that go bump in the night, right? They have, terrorized humanity since its existence. No one really knows where they came from or if they have an agenda or what it is. Some of them are intelligent. Some of them are just seem like raging beasts of rage and destruction, right? And they come in all different shapes and sizes. So Fiones are really, really cool. There's also the occultism, right? Like there's ghosts. There's literally like things from other worlds that possess people and stuff like that. And everyone has their different take on it, right? Like the temple thinks that it's like demons from the abyss, and occultists think it's, you know, whatever, like bad spirits or something. Demorathan think that it's, you know, evil energy. So there's all different ways that you can incorporate fear and terror. And one of my favorite things that I try to come back to and I try to articulate in Shadows of Esteren is a lot of times, despite all of these horrible, horrific, supernatural things, the scariest and most terrifying like monsters of all are like the ones that you see when you look in the mirror, right? And I think it does a really, really good job of showing how just terrible and depraved people can be sometimes. But also there's hope, right? Because sometimes there's a lot of like beauty.
There are moments of beauty, yeah.
There's moments of beauty, and if there's moments of tragedy and horror, like it makes those moments shine that much brighter. So it's very poetic and very. A lot of times I like to think of the moments that I narrate and stuff from like a cinematic perspective. How would this look if a camera was panning in or out? You know what I mean? And it's worked very well in our campaign so far. So I'm hopeful.
Right.
Anyone else need to? Yes, Rainey, go ahead.
How do I add a trauma point to my sanity chart? I see sanity
Yes.
and there's mental resistance, but then there's a lot of bubbles. So
Yeah, lots of
Oh,
bubbles. So
yeah.
go ahead and
the
add
top
one
row.
right now. Add one right now, and it's going to be a big like fill in the bubble, like it's a
Yep.
Scantron. There are two different types of trauma points. There's permanent and there's temporary. Temporary trauma points are a little bit easier to get rid of. Like if you spend time relaxing with friends and de-stressing, like think about like going on vacation, right? That's a way that you can get rid of temporary trauma points. Permanent trauma points are more deeply rooted in your being and in your psyche. So like you can get rid of them, but it takes like literally therapy or hypnosis, like occultism hypnosis, right? So
I'm sorry, this is a
bubble.
terrible way to do this on stream, but
Yep.
like there's two long lines and like 4 different traumas.
Yeah.
Like where do I
Yep.
put this bubble?
all the way
Guys,
top.
So that's
Left
those
to
are
right.
2 tracks. Yeah, it goes left to right. Your top track is trauma. Your bottom track is hardening. Don't worry about hardening right now.
Okay, gotcha.
You start
Okay.
all the way at the
Could
left,
be-
and as you accrue, you'll bump into higher categories of
Gotcha.
your mental
Yeah.
disorder manifesting.
Yeah, I didn't
If
know if
remember
I had to
correctly,
choose
like,
balance,
once you get
symptom.
Rainey,
Okay.
like once you get over balance and just have some sort
Gotcha.
of chart.
I see.
Yeah, your
There's a
your
symptom
your
of that
latent
madness that
disorder
manifests,
starts
right?
kicking in,
Gotcha. Cool.
Yes,
and then it
the hardening
just
and diggity,
intensifies
right?
as you
Yeah.
go farther down the track.
And every character will start with a number of permanent trauma points, and it's a very simple calculation, and we'll get to that here in just a minute. Are we ready to continue on to step 5, which is character traits, sanity,
Yeah.
and personality?
You just all need to know that Chap picked up on a dick joke that we did not. Hardening.
Oh,
Ah,
solid.
I love you guys.
Look,
Love
I
it.
keep an
That's
eye on
awesome.
Twitch chat for a reason.
Excellent. Yeah. Like inadvertent dick jokes. That's the thing.
You guys are MVP. Find them all.
So do we just
Gotta
pick
catch
these
'em
qualities?
all. Dick jokes.
Careful with those melodies.
What'd you say, Rainey?
Character traits.
Okay.
So your character traits are couple things happen. So each player must choose 2 character traits for their PC. One of these traits will be a quality, the other will be a flaw, and they will be picked from the list below. So you need the book to pick these. Okay, they are determined according to the ratings in ways chosen previously. Your 5 or 4 gives you access to a major rating, quality, or flaw for that way. Your 1 or 2 gives you access to those of a minor rating for each of those ways. What that means is, who has a 5 in combativeness? Sarah, if you look at the very top thing, if you have a 5 in combativeness, it means you're a very combative person. That can either be a good thing, which would make it a quality, or it can be a bad thing, which would make it a flaw.
Okay.
If you choose your quality based on a major rating, a rating you have a 5 or a 4 in, you get to pick from that list, right? And then likewise, your quality or your flaw can also come from a way that you have a low rating in. So we're going to use Sarah's character as an example. Let's say you choose combativeness, right? If you want it to be a quality, it can be that you're very optimistic, you're dynamic, you're brave, you're pugnacious.
Mhm.
Pugnacious.
Yeah, you got a bit of a temper and you're a bit abrasive, stubborn.
Which is interesting that that's a quality, but that's okay. Now, if you want your combativeness to be a flaw, it can mean that you're very impulsive, presumptuous, prideful, stubborn, arrogant, boastful, etc. Right? And then what's somebody's one? Christian, what's your one in?
My one's creativity.
Your one is creativity. Okay, so if you want your creativity to be a good thing for you, you would look under minor ratings under qualities. Low creativity means that you are you're upright, you're loyal, incorruptible, generous. Like these are all things that you would have if you had a low creativity that would be good, right? Oh wait, did I do that right or no? One second.
I got
you read
serious,
conviction.
respectful of traditions, and rules, disciplined.
Yeah, you read conviction, I think.
I read conviction. I'm sorry. And yours was, what did you say yours was?
My one was creativity.
Creativity. Okay. So yes. So you would go by the minor rating. So you have a 1 in creativity, which means you're serious, respectful of traditions or rules, disciplined, etc. Right? Not a creative person. That can be a good thing. If you want it to be something that's bad, you would look over at minor rating and you'd look at flaws. It would make you awkward, narrow-minded, rigid, ascetic. Ascetic?
Yeah, ascetic. Yeah, you kind of eschew. Like monks are ascetic.
Super minimalist.
Traditional.
Yeah.
Minimalist. You don't need material goods.
Aesthetic. Go ahead, Rainey.
So you actually read conviction minor ratings for qualities. My conviction is 1, so it's my lowest, but I like free, open-minded regarding social, religious, or moral codes. Like I'm open to whatever. Like, like that's my good quality, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? But that would mean that I now need to choose my flaw based on my 5, right?
Yeah. Or your 4. Or your 4.
My 5 or my 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that would be a major
so that's how it
rating
works. So
under
if you
flaw.
take, you have to choose one from the high one and one from the low, or vice versa.
Yeah. Wait.
I mean, I don't think you
I think
have
you have
to.
to choose a flaw and a quality. You have to have a
So it
positive and
doesn't matter
negative,
how-
and you
Oh,
can,
okay. Yeah.
it can be your
Okay.
highs or your lows or any
Oh,
combination
okay.
thereof.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It can be from any of them. Yep.
As
So
long as one's a quality,
realistically,
one's a
it's
flaw.
4 of your ways you can choose from because everyone's got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for ways. So there's literally only one way that you can't look at. All the other ones are fair game.
Okay.
So
In
where
that
do we
case,
rank
I'm going
these
to change
things?
it up.
Wait.
I'm going to just make myself immoral.
What's that, Christian?
Where do we rank
Moral.
these?
So those are going to be written on
Under
those are
sanity.
character traits, which are going to be
Yeah, it's under your sanity, under personality.
yes, character traits. Yep.
Okay.
Very
Cool.
last page.
Got it. Thank you.
Oh man, I kind of want to just make my character funny like that. Like it seems like such a useless quality in this world. And I kind
Funny?
of,
Funny.
you know what I mean?
I feel like that's so important.
Yeah, humor
when we're
keeps you alive
dying
in
and
dark
crying
times.
all the time.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, look at who I travel with. I have to be funny because
You
look
have
at
to be
these two.
funny.
Like, look at these two.
It
They're-
just murder shit with swords constantly.
Troy, Rainey, actually, absolutely take that because I think
Yeah.
I'm taking as my flaw taciturn under empathy. He's
Yeah.
just straight laced.
no wonder you beat the shit out of me when I was a kid. This is totally.
That was your violent. It was child.
That's what I wrote down. I said beaten for history of failures. That's what I wrote down.
You were in
What does
search
that
of
even
love.
mean? Why are you
and
throwing that on
instead
my
found
guy?
a gloved hand.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna revise that warning and say child abuse is now a theme in this
Alright.
setting.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, guys.
You won't
Sorry,
see it on
Rain.
screen. It's just part of my backstory. So,
Yeah. We'll always cut scene right when Christian's character is about to backhand Rainey. We'll cut scene to somebody.
He's
I'm
not a
tw-
child anymore.
I'm
It's
21.
just
You can
regular
backhand
abuse.
me.
Now it's just
What are you gonna
violence.
do about it though? Like,
No,
what are you
but-
gonna do about it?
Well, you know what happens? He's learned now because every time he backhands me, now that I'm 21, I let him do it so I can pickpocket him. And then he's like, where the fuck is my? And I'm like, yeah, funny, huh? Yeah, backhand me again, you dickhead.
And then he does.
Yeah, then he does. And then I'm like, got this now. And it's like we just chase each other around camp. And I'm funny. That's funny, guys.
I'm just sitting there
No,
laughing
this is
my
funny.
Your
ass off.
mouth
Why
full
aren't
of
you
his
laughing?
coin
It's
purse, and he just
funny.
backhands a mouthful of coins. He's like, fuck.
That's my humor. Is I just that's good.
I love it. Okay, has everybody picked their character traits?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
still struggling, but I'll get there.
I'm at DHO.
I'm sorry. I'll get there. I
Okay.
I like the idea of my character just being afraid of like having attachments, just being afraid of she lost her home, she lost everything. Like she just doesn't want to stay in one place anymore. She doesn't want to make attachments. She's also calm and
Undisciplined,
lazy.
rebellious, nonconformist. Those are all. What's your creativity?
My creativity is a 4.
Okay, so you could pick those as a major rating. That could be a flaw. You could be a nonconformist. You could be rebellious. Like,
You
I
are
would not-
rebellious. You left your noble family to live in the woods.
yeah. You could be eccentric, which you are also eccentric, right?
You left your noble family to live in the
Us.
woods.
Yep.
Well, not if they all died, Amber.
I think lazy is on here too.
Does
You did
anybody have living
Yeah, I'm
parents?
trying to find lazy. I'm trying to find something that's like akin to like lazy, which I kind of like calm and phlegmatic, but
Careless maybe.
I mean, you could just be
she's not really
sad.
careless.
Uh,
She's not really sad either. She's
Unreliable? Is your conviction low?
my conviction is low. No, my conviction's like a 3, but I think I might actually change it to low because I think it makes more sense.
Unreliable can be because of laziness. Like you just don't do what you're going to say all the
Yeah.
time. What you
I
say
mean,
you're going to do.
there's careless under reason.
Yeah.
You know, that can equate to laziness. Like if you don't care about anything, why are you going to get motivated? You know what I mean?
It's true. It's true.
Hashtag
And I believe you made your reason low,
What? Who
right?
said
Yeah,
that?
my reason is a 2. Yeah.
He
There
who
you
shits in the woods. What?
Yeah, is Chris here? He who shits in the woods.
Fear and spirit. Hump day.
That's still
Yeah,
the most
maybe I'll
ridiculous
go.
thing.
Maybe I'll go with careless.
Careless can
Yeah,
also be
kinda like that.
carefree, right? Like, I mean, it's
Right.
liberating as well as
Yeah.
frustrating for everybody
Yeah.
you're with.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, well, we're
Thanks.
lost again in this deluge. Everybody's like, God damn it.
Good thing I can climb this tree and wait for the floods to go away.
I like it. Thanks.
And then
guys.
she's like, "Is that a bear going down river? Oh my god!"
Oh, God. Does it have rainy? What's happening?
Just getting backhanded in the water. I'm like, "Come on, it's funny."
You're getting fucking Christian and the bear are taking turns mauling you.
I'm like, I'm not. Listen, I am inventing slapstick comedy in Tree
Yeah, I was
Castle,
going to
okay?
say, what is this? An anime? Like
Yeah,
the
I am
character's always
going to be the
getting hit.
originator of slapstick. Okay.
Originator.
Yeah, I'm the,
Cute
we are the Three
yakety
Stooges,
sack
but
every
I'm
time
the
his
only
character rolls on
stooge.
screen.
Oh, I love it.
We are the Three
Oh.
Stooges, but I am the only stooge.
Jeez.
Classic lines.
I should write these down.
Sarah, write
Hell.
that
So my
one down.
thoughtful, self-conscious
Gotta
character
put that one up on Facebook.
Yeah.
not really gonna put farewell with this group. So like, what
Okay.
is this happening? I don't understand.
All right,
Moving
so are we
Aspect
under
of
sanity?
character
Yeah.
creation. Sanity. We're getting there, guys. I'm sorry. We're getting there.
Cruising.
Session zeros sometimes take a little time, right?
Yeah.
And also, as a side note, not every session zero has to take this much time. I mean, you can.
Yeah,
it depends on
we
the
are.
game you're playing. It depends on kind of what the characters expect and want going into it. So, session zero is not just like making a character. It's also setting the background for your character's expectations, what they're looking to get out of the game, some of the things that they want to see and do. Things that they don't want to see or do. Like all of these things are very important aspects of session zero, which by the way, we will be releasing a podcast next week, right?
Correct.
First one. And Rainey, what was that? What was the podcast?
Yeah, so we're going to be streaming bi-weekly here at DMs After Dark on Twitch, and we're going to be playing games on those opposite Fridays. We're going to try and keep up with a podcast we're calling modified roles, where we talk about different design mechanics throughout RPGs in general. So common threads you're going to see in a lot of games and how they, approach it from different angles. We're going to talk about basically just how to get the most out of that kind of design. And our first episode will be going up next Friday, and it is about session zeros. So if you're getting ready to start a campaign, or you want to use these methods next time you do something with your friends, it's a great way to all start in stride together on the same page.
Yes. And we recognize not everybody is like a seasoned role-playing character. Like in the campaign we've been playing for the past year and a half, probably, one of my friends and sister-in-law, it's her very first time ever playing a role-playing game. And I would say like Shadows of Esteren is it's a pretty role-playing heavy game to start with, and she's crushing it. She's doing like a ridiculously good job. So it is what you make of it, right? And part of that is your expectation. But session zeros are super helpful for finding out all of those things. And if you listen to the podcast next week, I am the albino milkman they allude to, and Ronnie's milkman. So I was not in the podcast, but I had some, albino milkman is me. Ronnie
had some shout outs.
Yeah. I will also mention that the podcasts are going to be much shorter and digestible. Like we love you guys being on here and watching our streams, and we're going to put it up on YouTube if people want to watch us play these games. The podcast is going to be, we're aiming for something in the 30 to 40 minute range, just so that way you have some fun, juicy RPG talk to digest. And while we're on the topic, Troy, I would like to say, I don't want to see a bear. My character will get killed. That's a joke. Of course, you could throw a bear.
Yeah.
You can throw a bear.
My character cannot throw a bear.
Very easy. Very easy. Sanity. So sanity is, like I said, one of the elements that Shadows of Esteren does, and it does such a good job of. It is such an important part. I don't want to say it's so every character has what they call a latent mental disorder. Okay. Now, terminology obviously can differ depending on, like, if you're talking from a medical perspective or what is politically correct or societally acceptable, whatever. The book calls it latent mental disorders. Okay. There are a variety of them to choose from. There is frenzy, which is basically like you have anger issues. There is melancholy, which is depression. There is obsession, hallucination, mysticism, all of these different things that you can choose from. And you have to pick one. And it introduces such a incredible role-playing element to the game, especially if you're planning on playing a longer session where your character has more time and opportunity to be exposed to things that are mentally jarring. And it's honestly, it's something that actually does happen in real life, which is really cool, because I think the best thing, in my opinion, about role-playing is you get to do and be all of the things that you aren't or can't be in real life, but it still has to be relatable in certain areas. And, without getting too deep into it or anything like that, I mean, everybody has trauma, like whether or not you have a mental disorder or not, like that's none of my business. It doesn't matter. But like everyone experiences traumas and they deal with those things in different ways. And it's really cool to play a character that is doing that same thing.
Build empathy.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we're going to sanity next. And so everybody has you are either consciousness oriented or instinct oriented, and every character will be one of those two. The way that you find this out is you take your way of reason plus your way of conviction. That number equals your consciousness rating on the third page of your character sheet, right near the right underneath the sanity chart. Then you will take your way of combativeness and your way of creativity. This will give you your instinct rating, and that is going to also be right next to that on your sanity chart. Then what you do is you calculate. So first of all, whichever of those numbers is higher is the tendency of your character. You are either more consciousness oriented or more instinct oriented. Okay. Trauma depicts all physical wounds that weigh on one's consciousness and disorganizes one's instincts. The aspect is dynamic, and it is in constant evolution and interacts with the two other aspects. It is a sanity chart that is gradually filled. If the PC suffers a psychic injury, he receives one or several temporary or permanent trauma points according to the gravity of the events. The orientation of your personality. You will take the higher of those two, whether it's consciousness or instinct, and you will subtract it from the other. The remaining amount is how many permanent trauma points your character starts with. So if you are super consciousness oriented and very, very low instinct, you will start with a lot of permanent trauma points.
Yeah.
I'm up to
That's
4
in addition
already.
to any other ones you start with, right?
Correct.
Right,
Yes,
right,
setbacks or anything like that.
Okay.
Yep.
I am on the
So-
knife edge of sanity.
I have a
I'm like barely holding it together.
This is where we live.
Troy, I have a question then.
Yes.
If my orientation is 5 and I already had a permanent trauma point,
Then you are in symptom, I think. Symptom or syndrome? What is the second
Symptom
one?
is
it's
first.
symptom to
Symptom.
start.
Symptom is not that bad. Symptom is mostly just role playing. So expect to role play whatever your disorder is a bit. Like
Okay.
it's
Within
there.
reason.
It's you have a
It's there.
you're
I'm really
using
close
it as
to
a
that. I am
mechanism
really
to deal
close
with
to that.
some shit.
Really close.
Yeah. That's good.
Once
I
you
mean, it
hit
makes
syndrome
sense.
and madness, like it gets mechanical effects and it becomes extremely problematic behavior, basically.
It's a very pervasive part of your character and of your role playing.
My character in one of the games can barely function right now.
It's very, very
He's
paranoid.
going to kill all of his friends because he thinks they're secretly monsters in meat suits. Like, it's bad.
The next part is your personality. And your personality is something that you don't have to do this right this second. I think when we're finished hashing out the character creation, you'll have a better idea. And it's basically write down a few lines on your character sheet, like describe your character a little bit. You can pull from some of the actual mechanical things in your character, like, oh, you're instinctive and you have a very high combativeness rating. What does that look like for your character?
Quick check. How many of us are rational versus instinctive?
Rational.
Instinctive.
Instinctive.
I'm neither.
Are you
Balance.
dead even?
Dang. You
Yeah.
have to
Dead
pick
even,
if you're
Jess?
tied. You pick if you're
Oh,
tied.
I
You
pick
just
if I'm
choose.
tied?
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh.
I am rational.
Probably
Solid.
instinctive. Definitely instinctive then.
You're more instinctive, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be rational. It's just you have the wrong rational.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, like, I don't think
Like,
you
yeah,
really.
it makes sense. Everyone wants to work less hard and, get by easier. And you're like, yeah, so that's why I went into the wilderness
That's
by
why I
myself.
went into
Yeah.
the woods where
My,
everything at all times is trying
What
to
the
kill
fuck?
you.
My
She's
consciousness,
like, this is relaxing, running from bears.
my
I'm so
consciousness
relaxed.
is my 2 lowest stats, so it's 3.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
gosh.
3 versus like
Dang.
7 or yeah.
It's
That
8.
fits.
Your
That,
person-
that works
There's
perfectly.
a lot
My
of
instinct is
conflict in
8.
your nature.
Solid. Okay. So the next part is experience points, advantages, and disadvantages. And this part does take a little bit of time. This is the last one that takes a bit of time. The rest of it is kind of just filling out. I think we can't really skip that part to do the rest, though. That's okay. So the remaining 3 steps that we have after that are very quick and easy. It's like literally this stat plus this stat gives you your speed rating, gives you your attack rating, gives you your, defense rating. So it's very straightforward. Experience points, advantages, and disadvantages. So at the start of character creation, every character has 100 experience points at their disposal. Everybody gets 100.
I'm rich.
There are several things you can do with experience points. You can purchase a level in a domain for 10 experience points. You can purchase a discipline for 25 experience points. So if you've already got 5 in a domain and you're like, you know what, I want to have a discipline, I want to specialize in something, that is 25 experience points. Okay. The other thing that you can do with character creation is, and I don't believe you can do this at the very start of the game, but later on in the game, you can add to your speed rating. You can add to your defense scores. There's a couple. You can purchase survival points. None of those things I believe you can do at character creation though. So keep that in mind.
So can I pick beautiful?
Yes. So the next thing is advantages. So you can actually have more experience than 100, and you can have less than 100. So you can't have less than 100, but you can have more. So the way that you get more than 100 experience points is by taking disadvantages. It is not mandatory to take disadvantages, but if it makes sense for your character and for your backstory and for what you're trying to do, then you might want to take some disadvantages. The amount of points that you can gain from disadvantages can be no more than 80. So a maximum of 80 points you can get from disadvantages. Some of the disadvantages are physical or mental disadvantage. Addiction, right? Christian, you mentioned you wanted an addiction.
I am taking addiction.
Yeah, that's an extra 20 experience points for you. You can have a phobia. Sarah, you talked about how your tragic love is based on Fiones. Perhaps you have a phobia of Fiones.
I was gonna do that for her. Yeah.
You can be shy, unlucky, which, by the way, unlucky, like both of you could literally take unlucky. You rolled it as a disadvantage.
Oh, nice.
Aftermath is an interesting one. And then also all of the advantages have they have an opposite, which would be a disadvantage. So rather than being beautiful, for example, you can be ugly. You can be ugly to the eye, and it gives you disadvantages equal to the advantage that so if you're beautiful, your character gets a +1 bonus when they use performance and relation. If you're ugly, you get a -1 to those things, and it gives you half the amount of experience points. So instead of spending 30 to be beautiful, you can be ugly and get an extra 15. So yeah. It's important to note that the advantages can only be taken at character creation, which is not so much important for a short campaign. We're only going to do probably 2 or 3 sessions tops for this. But if you're playing a long campaign, like if you want to be beautiful, you got to pick that shit when you make your character. You can't just become beautiful. I mean, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, of course, but you know. So yeah, so think about those things for a little bit. Does anybody have any questions on that?
So this is sort of related. So I, based on the stats that I had earlier, already have a 6 in natural environment.
Yes.
Where do I find the disciplines for that? Is it listed?
So those are going to be, if you go further back before character creation, it's going to be under
The skills playlist of disciplines, right?
Yes. So, and that's going to be under, it's right before character creation starts. It's going to be on page
194.
Thank you.
Hey.
Yep. And it goes, and also the skills are not hard and fast either. There are certain things that like perhaps your character wants to do, and you have to work with the game leader to find out what that would fall under. One of the characters in one of my campaigns has a discipline in ventriloquism. She's literally a ventriloquist. She can throw her voice. Like, is that as useful as being a swords master? Probably, maybe not. I mean, it's contextual, right? But she's done some pretty cool shit with it so far. So,
right, cool.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. So if you look under natural environment, some of the disciplines are going to be agriculture, animal training, fauna and flora, first aid, herbalism, orientation, survival, tracking. Those are all examples of disciplines that you can have. It's also important to note that there are crossovers as well. Multiple different domains sometimes have very similar disciplines. So for example, if you go to occultism, that one of the disciplines is mental phenomena. Okay. If you go to temple, or I think it's not temple, it's
prayer.
Is it prayer? Let me see. Yes, if you go to prayer, they have spirituality, which is a discipline that can help someone suffering from psychic troubles. Those two things function essentially the same in game, right? It's just the route that they take, right? Like one of them will pray away your mental traumas and, do stuff like that. The other one is going to have more of a like psychological approach. Maybe they'll do some dream interpretation, or they'll sit down and talk to you and dissect some of your childhood traumas and make you face those things, right? So There's multiple different ones have multiple categories. A good example is medicine. So you can get medicine under natural environment. It's first aid. Like you can use plants as first aid. You can, make splints with like sticks and shit like that. Or you can go to science and you can get medicine. It's the same thing in game. It's just the approach is different. So, yes. Yes.
Should I use are we supposed to use all 100 of these experience points?
Yes.
So yes for this for all intents and purposes for this campaign, yes. It's up to the leader if you can keep them and use them at a later time. It's dependent on your campaign and what your leader dictates.
So, Troy,
and then go ahead, Christian.
But fighting arts.
But obviously for our purposes, we're going to play 2 to 3 sessions. So use them all.
Fighting arts as an advantage. What is that?
Yeah, so fighting arts is a special thing, and they go over that in the next step. So if you go to
2-weapon fighting is nasty. It's so good.
Yeah, so let me see here. I'm going to find the page for you here. Fighting arts. What is that under? Fighting arts. Okay. So it costs 20 points. Every character has what's called basic fighting aptitudes. A PC having a minimum rating of 5 in close combat can learn particular techniques: archery, cavalry, parry, sneak attack, and 2-weapon fighting. Learning a fighting art is possible later in the game as well. So that's an exception to the rule as far as advantages you can take later. See the experience and advancement chapter. So that's going to be, I'm trying to think of where that
I
is.
just found, I think it's page 238.
So, okay, I'll wait.
It's on my PDF, I think. Yeah.
That goes over the fighting arts. So Christian, as somebody who has a 6 in close combat, you could pick one of those fighting arts as long as you meet the prerequisites.
Cool.
So like cavalry, for example, you also have to have the ride discipline. So that you wouldn't be able to have cavalry unless you have 6 points in travel as well. Archery, parry, 2-weapon fighting is pretty good. And in my experience, 2-weapon fighting is really good. It basically gives you a higher plus and a higher minus. A higher plus and a higher minus to your fighting attitude, which we'll get into in just a minute.
Okay. And how is parry?
Parry, yes, you can choose that one if you would like as well. I haven't ever played a character that had that.
Cool. Well, now you have, because I'm taking it. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. What were you saying, Rainey?
These bonuses from advantages, these don't fill in another bubble, right? There, it's like you put +1 under the bonus section. It's not +1 to the domain.
Correct. They don't fill in another bubble. Yep.
Okay.
You have to make a separate note of that.
Oh,
Yeah, so this is one of the things that I meant, like some parts of the character creation is a little difficult, right? So if you're beautiful, it doesn't give you another bonus in the performance domain and relation domain.
Correct.
It gives you a bonus, not another level. You don't fill in a bubble.
Yeah, so then it says here, by doubling this advantage, you can become magnificent, blah, blah, blah. That means I have to take that twice.
So
you
that
spend
means
40
you pay,
points, yeah.
Yes. So you pay
60. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
I'm not going to do that,
Yeah.
but I was wondering because I took beautiful and charismatic, which both give me +1 to performance and relation. So I was like, does that double it? But it does. Those are separate bonuses, but
right. And then also, so beautiful and charismatic, you would get a +2 bonus for both of those things. So by taking beautiful and charismatic, you would have a +2. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is important to note though, if you take the highest tier, so like for example, if you take strong, right, which is 40 points, gives you a +1 bonus. If you take Colossus, it's 50% more points, not 100%. So for 40 points, you get a +1 bonus to those things. But for 60 points, you would get a +2 bonus. So it's not double the experience points, it's 1.5 times the base experience points.
Neat. Cool.
And you can only start with 2 of those maxed out advantages because it's supposed to be indicative of how truly rare they are, right? Like if you're Colossus, you're fucking giant. Like you're one of the strongmen competitors. Like you're huge.
To clarify, because I realized I thought I did it wrong. I might have done it right. but right above advantages, improving a domain or a discipline. If I'm using my experience points for that, that fills in the bubbles.
Correct. Yes, that does.
Okay.
It's just a straight one bubble per 10 points.
That's where I was.
If you want a 6th point, right, then you have to choose a discipline, and that 6th point costs 25 experience.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot that was an option. Yeah, I definitely gotta give myself
do you get
way
a
more
plus 6? Do
domain
you
points.
actually get an extra bubble, or do you just get a discipline?
You just get a discipline. So you have to underneath the domain, you'll only ever have 5 bubbles. Underneath the domain, it has a spot for 2 disciplines. You'll literally write what your discipline is, and then you'll make a note of the bonus in that discipline. And a lot of this would make a lot more sense if we had character sheet on the screen for you guys. So we apologize in advance. But Drive Through RPGs, free character sheet. You can download the PDF. You can also get book 0, which is all that you need to play.
And once again, we'll get these character sheets up and post on Facebook sometime next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Or at
And
least before we play again.
I did post the URL to the Drive Through RPG page in chat that has the link to the character sheets. So if you scroll back up in chat, I will have posted the link. My name is Glowing Nova in chat. I'm the mod with the little sword next to my name. I realize it doesn't reference being Sarah anywhere, but that's me. Hi.
Sword. Yes.
Local Twitch mod. Hello. I mean, I do literally have a sword next to me. It's fake, but I have one in case, you know.
In case it's necessary.
Just like you never know when you might need a giant LARP sword, but like I have one.
There you go.
So
I bought this cool thing at a Ren Fair last weekend. It's like a steampunk, it's got some of the Giants vibes. It's got a syringe on there. It's got a little little bracer. You strap it on, ready to go. Tactical medic. I don't know what our etiquette is on eating food while live streaming, but
go for it.
Mute yourself. Okay.
Eat all the food.
That was my Leonardo meme.
All right.
Troy, chat would like to know when you turned into Yu-Gi-Oh.
Your hair.
Yu-Gi-Oh? What is Yu-Gi-Oh? Oh, I mean, I know what Yu-Gi-Oh is. I don't get the reference.
I'm reading what chat has asked. They have asked why you are turning into Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh, the card game. He's the character
is it
too,
your
right?
hair? I don't know.
Yeah, he's the hair.
The character is
Yugi.
Yugi.
Doing crazy.
Yeah,
there
Yugi
you
has
go.
like crazy spiky hair though. He's
There's
got,
your hair, man.
huge spiked hair.
So one
Maybe
thing
we
you'll all
activated
learn
it.
is I am a man of a million different looks. I might be bald next session. I might have a mustache. Nobody knows.
He said the armband was very Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh,
that's
okay.
fair.
I get that, right?
That's fair.
Card.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Part of the cards, baby.
Wow, my character is not very good, and I am okay with this.
I'm only good at certain things. Mostly
I think I
killing.
gotta
Be the slowest person in the group, okay?
What's
I
that?
gotta rethink my whole character concept. So we may have to talk to her.
I'm shy.
Thinking your whole character
Amber!
concept.
Yeah, I think I might rethink it.
Amber, are you just building Lawrence again?
I'm building steampunk science, Lawrence. Lawrence before was just cripplingly shy. This character
Bummer.
is shy, but also has a drive to help people, which makes things very difficult.
For those of you without context, one of the games that I ran and will be running again, probably around February, is
Cripplingly
Good
shy.
Society, the Jane Austen RPG, where Amber played Lawrence, a cripplingly shy, extremely wealthy heir who just wanted a genuinely nice friend and partner, and it was really wholesome. So,
Did he ever find one?
yes. I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
remember.
right.
He reconnected his friendship with
That's
The-
right.
the
That's
Baroness.
right. The
The,
Baroness. That's right.
There was a wealthy girl who was like abandoning her wealth to join him in the arts, and I cannot remember her name, but he did get a girlfriend
Yes,
at the
that's
end.
right. Who was
that's
that?
right.
Christian played her.
I did. I'm so awesome. It was
I did. I'm so awesome.
It was the
It began with an
her
E.
name escaped.
it
Her
was
name
the
escaped.
friend. It was the best friend of.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's my
Guess
best
his
friend, right?
character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, it was the best friend.
Ah,
Elaine
name
or
escapes
something
me
like
too.
that.
Evelyn?
Evelyn?
Evelyn. Yes, maybe
Yeah.
it was Evelyn.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Hold on. I can
Something.
find out in 2
Something like
seconds.
that.
I still have the
I will
notes.
say, I think
Right.
all of us unanimously agreed that that was literally one of the best role-playing experiences we've ever had.
It was
Like,
rad.
it was,
It really
Yeah.
was.
I
hands
agree.
down, it was one of the best for me. I never thought I would love a no dice, no combat, Jane Austen-based role-playing game, but that shit was fire. That
I
was
agree.
so good.
I agree.
Ugh.
Eliza.
Eliza,
Yes,
yes,
that's right.
that sounds.
Oh, that I
Eliza
almost just,
Davenport. That's
I
what it
almost
was.
just busted out in Hamilton.
How many to hide
Yes.
behind you all?
I think that's
and
why I
literally
chose her
cannot fight
name.
Or run or anything.
How about the old
Protect me.
Ruth Gator Binsberg?
Oh gosh, that's right.
All right.
I was
So
like, oh god, that's right.
I think I finished mine. So there's nothing I could do with 5 points, huh?
You can buy a survival point. No, we start with 3, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I got -1 to survival because I took fragile. I'm a fragile boy.
Oh.
But I took quick, so I will not be the slowest
is
person
good.
in the party.
Quick
I'm
as
fast
need.
but fragile.
Maybe I'll
There's
take a
stuff you
phobia.
can do with 15. There's stuff you can do with 15. So if you wanted to take a disadvantage for 10
I'll be
points,
back again.
What can I do for 15?
trauma.
Done.
Trauma's a good one that gives you 10. And then for 15, you can do like,
Well, that would bring me up to 5 on my trauma thing. I'd fill up balance. So does that mean anything?
I don't think there is anything for 15. I think
Yeah,
you
that's
just
all right.
be happy with it.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
No.
All right. So I'm just going to move on to step 7 and start reading up on this.
I'm ready.
Yeah. So as long as everybody has an idea of the concept and how it works, can fill out their sheet from there. We will move on to step 7 because I'm trying to be conscious of time here. I know we're going a little long, but I apologize. What are we thinking for future sessions? We're thinking what, like 1.5 to 2 hour sessions, roughly, something like that.
Two
Yeah.
to maybe 2.5.
Yeah, I would say 2 to 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 to 2.5. Okay.
Two to
Of course, it's
Something like
gonna be on
6:30 to
YouTube as well.
9.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be on
Sounds
YouTube
good.
as well. So, obviously, if you are interested in viewing it and following through our campaigns and whatnot, you don't have to watch it all in one session. It's all good.
And they will be,
Step
and for
7.
reference, going forward, we are planning on doing order campaign. 2 sessions, maybe
Yes.
3 tops.
2,
So,
3 sessions. Yeah.
it's not going to be
2 to 3
critical role where
tops.
if you miss it for a couple of weeks, you're 150.
Right? Good point. Step 7 is going to be potential, defense, speed, and stamina. These are all really easy calculations. Does anybody have a 1 in creativity? Christian, your potential is 1. There should be a spot on your character sheet for your potential rating. And it's, I think, right near
Under weapons.
Under weapons.
underneath
second.
weapons is your potential. Okay. I will explain what potential is once we calculate it. Does anybody have a 5 in creativity? Your
Boy.
potential rating is 3.
Yeah. Take
Everybody
that.
else has
Backhand
2.
me again. I have potential.
Potential to get backhanded again. Yeah.
As I cry, I have potential.
Everybody else has 2. Potential factors into your fighting style. So combat in Esteren is, in addition to being literally disgustingly ruthless and brutal, you adopt a fighting style at the beginning of combat. So that's basically, there are 4 different ones, kind of 5 sort of, but there is offensive, defensive, quick, standard, and move. Move is not really a fighting style. You are literally not fighting, you're moving instead. So that's kind of that's the style that you adopt for the duration of combat, essentially. If there's a break in combat and then it resumes or whatever, you can pick a new fighting style. But each fighting style, with the exception of standard, which has no bonuses or disadvantages, it gives you an advantage in one particular aspect of your character and a disadvantage in another. So if we think of defensive will give you a bonus to your defense rating, and it will give you a minus to your attack rating. The bonus and the minus are equal to your potential. So Christian, because you have a 1, even if you take an offensive fighting style, you're not that much more offensive, and you're also not that much less defensive.
Okay.
But like Rainey, you're super creative. So if you decide to go offensive, like you're like dropping low, you're like throwing the dagger into different hands, trying to stab somebody, like you're going crazy with it. But that also means you're leaving yourself like way wide open.
Dropping it
guess
like
who's
it's hot.
never going offensive? This guy. Quick.
Get
100%.
Yeah. But that is an example of where your potential rating comes into play. It comes into play with your combat style.
Cool.
Or your combat attitude. Defense is the next thing. So during a fight, everybody has the ability to defend themselves against melee and ranged attacks alike. The defense rating is several qualities: the fighter's ability to analyze the situation, some degree of carefulness, and also their knack for anticipating the actions of their opponent. I really like how they do that. That's a cool thing. It's not just like how quick you are, it's all of those things put together. This rating is used as a difficulty threshold to determine if an attack succeeds. The defense rating can be adjusted by specific advantages or disadvantages. Experience also plays a part. The defense rating can be improved as the character becomes more seasoned, right? It represents your improved ability to do all of those things above that we mentioned. To know the initial defense rating of a character, make the following addition: your way of reason plus your way of empathy plus 5.
Not bad.
My defense and speed are not as good as I thought my characters would be.
You're also not very combat oriented, so I mean.
Very true.
And you even said like you don't care about like what people are thinking, right? Makes sense.
Well, no, I picked reason over empathy because I want to be able to read people, but I don't really care about their emotional state because that's not me.
I will say this. In my experience, the best way in Esteren is probably a toss-up between combativeness and empathy. And it's only because those are the ones that are most commonly used in different domains.
Yeah.
Did I accidentally min-max? Because those are my top 2.
Hey.
Those are middle low
Good
for
at
me.
this stuff. You're going to be really bad at praying, though. That's
She doesn't. She can barely read. She doesn't know how.
There you go.
Wait, where does this go again?
So defense is going to be on your character sheet on, I believe, the second page.
Top
right
of
across
the second page. Yep.
Yeah, right across from fighting attitudes, weapons, right at the top on the right-hand side.
So I'm not filling in bubbles. I'm writing down numbers, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I thought. You write the number across.
Okay.
The next thing that we calculate is going to be speed.
If I end up the slowest person anyway, and I took quick, I'm going to be mad.
In a harsh world such as Esteren, it is often important to be the faster one. The speed rating will be used during fights and in every situation where the quickness of a character matters. It relies on their reaction speed and their ability to guess what is going to happen. Experience as well as advantages and disadvantages can modify this rating. To know the initial speed rating of a character, make the following addition: way of combativeness plus way of empathy, which is your 1 and your 2, Rainey.
It's my 3 and my 2. Conviction is 1.
Your 3 and your 2. Solid. You
And
slow ass.
I
You
took
slow
quick.
nimble ass.
I took quick, so I got a +1 to it. So I have a 6 speed, but I have a feeling I'm going to be slower than everyone else anyway, which is whatever.
Probably. There's going to be
I
a
got
reason for it,
5,
though.
man.
Oh, there you go.
5.
I got a
I
7.
think about everything too much. I think about things before I do stuff, and it
Yes.
sometimes gets me taking a while.
Yep. Analysis paralysis. There you go.
Yep.
The bear will get the magentist before me.
J. Cho, what did you get?
Yep.
I got an 8, I believe.
Yo, she's
Conviction and
lazy
empathy?
but fast.
She's lazy, but she's quick to leave. She's
When
she's ready to
Why
go.
she's quick because she conserves
hauls
energy
ass.
so efficiently.
Because the sooner she gets to wherever she's going, the sooner she can sit down.
Ah, there's the logic.
I fully understand that one. Abide by it in
Yeah.
real life. Yes.
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna take a nap. Motivation.
What's yours, Christian?
Mine 7.
7. And what's yours, Sarah?
9.
9.
Wow. You are
Nice.
greased lightning.
It is my
My-
5 and my 4.
Christian, she reminds you of you when your joints hurt less.
Yeah, well, I'm old, so it's just like, I'm just like, I'm so proud of her. Look at my girl.
Yeah.
You,
She's
Rainy,
got all
why are
this
you not
raw
like her?
potential and you've got all the skill. And it's just like, yep.
The last thing that we calculate here is stamina. Every PC has a basic rating of 10 in stamina. The rating
But we all have 9 because we all have wounds.
I actually have an 8 because I'm just totally messed up.
Mine's 11 because I took sturdy.
Hey, that's where all of our energy went.
I like
Oh
it.
no, wait. No, I didn't take sturdy. I took a different one. Hold on. What was the one that? Oh, nope. No, I didn't take sturdy. I took intuitive. So I don't have that. But still.
We are almost done here, folks. We're moving on to step 8. Step 8 is going to be fighting attitudes and attack rating. I briefly discussed the fighting attitudes before, which was the different attitudes that you adopt during combat. There is the standard attitude, which is neither aggressive nor defensive. It's a blend of both. Offensive, which is all-out offense. Defensive is all-out defense. Quick, which is you just try to be the first person to do something. And then movement is the final fighting attitude, which is you are focused on moving and moving a lot versus
And moving away.
moving away most of the time. So there's nothing to be done there on your character sheet. Well, I guess there is. You can fill in your actual... Okay, so we'll do that in just a sec here. So on your character sheet, on the second page, there is your fighting attitudes. See it right in the middle of your defense and your weapons.
Mm-hmm.
We will fill those all in just a moment. We're going to calculate your attack rating. So your attack rating is calculated with the following addition. It is your way of combativeness plus the domain or discipline used for the fight plus possible bonuses, which would be advantages. That equals your attack rating. So, Christian, we're going to go with you.
Yep.
If you are attacking with your sword because you're a sword master, I'm assuming you have a +6, right?
Yeah, so I'd have +6 and combativeness 4 would be 10.
Yes, you would have a 10 plus any advantages you might have. So if you took like strong or colossus,
Nope.
like you would have an additional +1 or +2 bonus.
Nope, so it's just a 10.
Okay. Now, if you were to use anything but a sword, if you were to use a mace, your bonus would be a +9, because then it's just your 5 combativeness rating plus your 4 or your 5 close combat plus your 4 combativeness rating. Yeah, Amber's is gonna suck big time.
Guys, I'm rocking a 2 in close combat, so
just to let you know, we calculated everybody's defense. Sarah, what was your character's defense rating?
11.
Okay, so Amber has to roll a literal 10 to hit you with anything.
except I'm a giant's artifact weapon because I have that discipline.
Okay, yes. So
if we have lightning gauntlets, I might manage it.
Lightning
she can't
will
hurt
kill me.
you, but she can with a lightning
I
gauntlet.
can't bitch slap you with my defibrillator.
There.
I also have a discipline in medicine, so yes, the defibrillator is also my weapon of choice.
I love it.
Love it. Does anyone have any questions on attack rating?
That's
Yes.
just the one that goes into standard, right?
Correct.
So it's
And it also goes under attack rating, by the way. Like I think it literally says.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see that. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, not to be like help me specifically, but so it says way of
Me
combativeness,
specifically.
which is for me, I have a 3 in combativeness, and then it says
Okay.
domain or discipline used for the fight plus possible bonuses. So I have no bubbles in close combat, so I only add what my combativeness is, which is 3.
Yes, you literally only have a 3.
Okay.
So if you plan on hitting anything ever, you might want to put some points in close combat.
Well, I have 1 in shooting and throwing, so
Okay.
That'd be +4.
Might be able to hit something.
Yeah.
What was the thing you said we could do with 15 points? I have
There was
5.
nothing.
There's
Trying to-
nothing.
there's
Yeah,
nothing.
there's
nothing.
nothing.
Oh, there was
Can't
nothing.
increase
Sorry.
defense or anything.
No, not a character.
No, that
creation.
takes 10. Yeah.
Shit. Just wasting 5
I just want to
points in the
clarify.
acre.
So I have a +1 bonus to close combat because I have the strong advantage. So I have that plus my combativeness plus my close combat score, and that's my attack?
Yes. And if you have a discipline under close combat, like swords, for example.
I don't.
Okay. So you have 5 plus 5 plus 1. So you have an 11 bonus.
I created a monster, guys.
Yeah. I mean,
That's why we're a good team.
I showed up to the table with pure of heart, dumb of ass, and I made a monster.
Be the killer.
But it's
and your
okay.
father
The,
is
the
proud.
curse of high competence in Esteren will befall you, and that will be you will roll nothing but
sure.
1.
I'm sure.
You biff it on everything you're good at.
I'm just baffled.
So
Performance anxiety.
underneath standard, you will put your regular defense rating and your regular speed. Okay. The things that we just calculated in the previous step.
Yep.
If we go down to offensive, you will take whatever your potential is, which Christian, yours was 1, Rainy, yours was 3, everybody else had a 2. Under offensive attitude, you add your potential to attack and subtract it from defense.
And
So look at
speed
your
just stays the
standard.
same.
Yep. Add the potential to your attack, subtract it from defense. Under defense, add your potential to your defense and deduct it from your attack. It's the exact opposite. Your speed stays the same for both of these. Under quick attack, add your potential to your speed and deduct it from your defense. And that is it. Does anybody have any questions on that one?
So
There's a
movement doesn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a last one that says movement for fighting attitude.
Oh, that will be exactly the same as all of your standard.
Okay.
As your standard. Oh, okay. What does that mean then for a fighting attitude?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's actually not true. So it is also, okay, 1 second. So I'm just going to read movement. During a fight, it is possible to move a few steps, but sometimes a character will want to use their entire action for moving. By using this attitude during a round, a character can move about 10 yards or even double that if they can run. It is also possible to use the Feats domain to make special moves. So I would imagine that would be something along the lines of like vaulting over a table or tumbling between somebody's legs, something like that. The potential is added to the defense rating, but no attack can be made. If the character himself was caught in a melee fight, he can use this fighting attitude to withdraw. Leaving a fight is never simple and can have harmful consequences. By the way, leaving a fight is fucking terrible and really hard to do. Just saying. So yeah,
It's
so
better to
under,
not get into it.
under
try.
movement, add your potential to your defense, and your attack is 0. You literally cannot attack.
And your speed is standard?
Yes.
Okay.
The last step that we will actually do for our live stream is going to be step 9, which is survival points, Rindoth, and exaltation. Rindoth and exaltation are not applicable here because nobody is playing a Demorothin and nobody is playing a Temple of the One God member. Therefore, survival points, easy peasy. The initial number of survival points is 3. It can be adjusted with advantages or disadvantages. Survival points are really, really cool, guys.
You can use them to not die.
Well,
Yes.
I took fragile, so I have 1 less. I'm gonna die.
In a
You
critical
use them to
moment,
not die for 1 round.
yeah, in a critical moment, a player can decide to use 1 or several survival points. The PC can then go beyond their limits, ignoring pain or accomplishing a desperate act by calling upon their courage or their innermost willpower. Such actions are not necessarily physical. Survival points can be used for every type of action, given there is the feeling of urgency. So, for example, if you are in your very last health condition on your health chart, if you're in the critical condition, right, and you go to agony. The way that agony works is basically you go unconscious and you will die if you don't receive immediate medical attention. Okay. If you use 2 of your survival points, you can take 1 more action, ignoring all of your pain and all of your penalties, and just fucking get it. And then the next round, you go unconscious and start dying. So
You can use 2
otherwise-
survival points to clear your agony box too. Right?
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah.
And otherwise, the in non-combat situations, it's more or less a re-roll. So like if you biff a roll, like you're trying to ride a horse to get away from somebody and you roll terrible and you're like, no, I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to grab this horse's mane. I'm going to squeeze with my legs and we're riding this horse. You re-roll and hopefully have a glorious moment of success. It's a really fun role-playing strategy and tool. I like it.
Cool.
Yeah. It's basically like it's like advantage and it just costs you a survival point.
Christian and
Those
I
Those
talked
do
about
not
this.
return. When you
Meta-currency.
spend them, the only way to get more is to buy them with experience. So they do not refresh like in
They
some
do
other
not,
systems.
so it's not like you get one back.
They do
next
not
session.
refresh.
Ooh, that is hard.
You do not get them back.
Okay.
Okay, so you have to choose them wisely.
So,
Yes, definitely.
Can I pitch something before we start wrapping up?
Yeah, really quick. I just wanted to say there is one more step in character creation, which is equipment. That's going to take a long ass time, and we're not going to do it on the live stream. But there is a beautiful section of equipment which has everything that you could imagine that you would need in the world of Tricazel. It has everything from horses to modes of transportation. It has like the cost of ships and carriages. It has room in, it has paper. It has backpacks, bedrolls, weapons, lightning gauntlets. It has literally everything that you can think of. So it's a beautiful thing. It's really like masterfully done. The system of money that it uses is a three-part system. So you have ember dowels, which are the cheapest. You have azure dowels, which are in the middle, and then you have frost dowels, which are at the top, and they are all increments of 10. So 10 ember dowels is a azure dowel, 10 azure dowels is a frost dowel. Each character will start with a predetermined amount of money based on your profession and how dangerous it is. So that is something that I guess we can just calculate right now. I feel like everybody has a dangerous or well sought after profession, which means you all start with.
Damn you, Rainey.
We got to give our names before we say goodbye. That's
Damn you,
That is
Rainey.
true, yeah.
Oh, you didn't have one ready?
I got one ready.
I'm ready.
Troy, I would like to petition that I have a hazardous profession in stealing shit.
Everybody does, yes. Mercenary or a warrior is hazardous. A vargal is hazardous, and I'm going to say a magiantist is hazardous too. It's kind of a skilled profession like a doctor, but it's more dangerous because you could.
Well, I know that. I've been electrocuted.
Yeah, so hazardous profession. So everybody starts with
10 ember dowels and 1 azure dowel.
Yes.
Oh, is that? I think that's the daily wages.
So if a player in elite,
oh dang, you're right,
Oh.
Christian. A lot more than
Yeah,
that.
so you get 30 times that because it's a month.
We're
Yes,
loaded.
Dang. Okay.
3 times that?
30.
30.
30.
30?
Yep.
So 300 ember dowel and 30 azure dowel.
What?
I'm gonna convert that into Azure Dowels.
Yeah, just all azure. So is that just 60 azure?
Azure Dowels. Yeah.
Okay.
And that'll be stuff we can spend on all of our starting equipment, and then we just keep what's left over.
Correct.
Perfect.
Yep.
Wow.
All right, gang. I need to know. It's been killing me. I need some names for these faces I'm making up in my mind. You want me to go first?
I can even
Yes.
describe my guy, but go for it.
I
Yes,
will
we
also
do.
say I would personally love if between now and next session everyone could find a picture online that's like about how they picture their character, because
yeah.
I love like the Pinterest visuals and just an idea of what your character looks like, just for me, and maybe to share on the Facebook page alongside our
Yeah.
character sheets. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Good idea. That's a good idea.
There are
Picture
also
to
some
the
character
best screen.
image generators you can use to avoid copyright and also customize. So we'll
Yes.
look at that too.
So there's actually in I think is it book 0 or the book 1 PDF thing that I have.
Character names.
There's a character names thing. So I just went on that and
Oh.
picked one of the more ridiculous ones I found.
Son of a bitch.
Now I picked one that it's 2 syllables, but I'm only gonna go by my first syllable. My name is Javed. So you can call me Jow.
How is
Wow.
that spelled, Rainey?
I will put it into Twitch
Yes.
and I'll put it into chat. My character's name is Javed. Jaoved.
Excellent.
But you, other child.
It's pronounced Aoife.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I could-
AOEFE.
AOIFE.
yeah,
Yeah.
very good Celtic name.
Nice.
We've had a friend who played an Aoife once.
It's a
And it's
great
pronounced
name.
Aoife.
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 Yep.
It's pronounced Aoife.
That's a traditional Irish name. I
Right.
think.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
it's Scottish Celtic, I believe.
Scottish Celtic. Yeah.
So
All right,
I do not
Dad.
have a Celtic name because I'm Tarish. I have Dragomir.
Ooh.
Yeah, what is it?
Dragomir.
Dragomir.
Dragomir. All right.
Dragomir. Okay.
Dragomir.
Dragomir.
I feel like you should like me more just for my name, Dragomir and Javed. Like it's like they're almost similar, but
Dragomir.
all I get is backhands.
Aved, why don't you listen?
What kind of
I'm
name
a-
is Dragomir?
Aoife, easy.
You'd be more like Aoife.
Efficient. Lots of vowels.
Yeah.
I'm a tall, slim young man with dark, messy hair. I'm Inceptor Theo Wake.
Oh, Theo.
Yo.
Theo, yeah, Theo's first name. Last name is Wake.
Theo.
Inceptor Wake.
Wait. Inceptor. You're an Inceptor?
I'm an Inceptor.
All
Love
right.
it.
Not quite. I haven't quite. I'm at the end of my learning phase.
Is that like
I'm in my last year of grad school.
is that the
If I can only make
Magiantis?
it.
Like Ion 10, like the Yon 10,
Yeah.
like it's the
Yeah, it's
equivalent
before you become,
of full blown
Yeah,
Magiantis.
right. I'm on the edge there. This is my thesis. It will kill me or I will conquer it.
Excellent, nice.
It makes sense. Yeah, that's perfect. Send you on a dangerous, harrowing journey to earn your
Learn
your right
something.
to Magiantis.
Yeah.
And our runaway princess.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't have a name yet, so subject to change. But I'm leaning right now towards Charlie. I like the name Charlie.
Aw,
I like
nice.
Charlie.
Just Charlie.
Just Charlie.
bit my finger.
I was hoping no one would think of that.
What?
Actually, it's the second
female-
thing I thought of.
Female Charlie, Jess?
Female Charlie. Yeah.
Okay. Wasn't sure.
Cool. All right.
Wow, guys, we did it. First session is
Also,
done.
Troy, real quick. I took a bunch of disadvantages, not over 80. I'm shy. I have a phobia of heights and have trauma, and they all relate to my my wound. I was I fell into some power lines because I was pushed.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, from a height. Yeah, but just combine that. It was a really terrible moment. I'm gonna flesh out who pushed me and why.
Oh.
Nice. Nice.
That's awesome. I like it.
Love it.
All
I'm
right.
gonna
Are we
rival Magiantis.
about ready to wrap this up for the
Think we're
night?
ready.
Mhm.
Well,
the,
thank
the
you.
real shenanigans will begin. The
December 10th, so
jokes will
that's not
increase at an
next Friday, but the
exponential
Friday
rate.
after.
Yes. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been just such a, as the person who's been seeing the numbers, such a genuinely exciting amount of people to be joining us on this journey. We're very, very excited to be starting this. DMs After Dark has been our bastard brain baby since like November of last year when we all started hanging out and playing games together. So I really appreciate you guys all coming and hanging out with us and seeing all the crazy shenanigans we have to offer. Our next session of Shadows of Esteren will not be next Friday, but the Friday after, November 10th, starting around the same time
September.
between.
September 10th.
September 10th.
What did I say?
Said November.
November. You're not waiting that long.
September 10th.
I was doing so good, but I can't tell time. So next month on the 10th, sometime between 6 and 6:30. And keep an eye out as well for our podcast Modified Roles. We will be posting updates on everything we do on our Facebook and on our Twitter. You guys look at the character sheets soon to kind of get to know us and get to know our characters. And we will catch you all next time on DMs After Dark. Thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thank you.